O come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. O come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of angels. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Christ the Lord. All right, party people, what's up? Welcome one, welcome all to the Jerkmonger Show live from Tampa, Florida, here in my studio, Jerkmonger Studios. Yes, it's me. I'm back. Actually, I wasn't gone very long. I was just enjoying the holidays with my family, and here I am. Here is. So real quick, I'm just going to jump on with my FaceTime camera for y'all to see me. Okay, I just turned my camera off. All right, that's me. This is me. My camera's a little low because of the way I have my setup, so forgive that. But anyway, it's good to see you all. Let's see what's going on here. Sub Sketch Therapy, my man. Muttman says, yo, yo, yo. Rodwell says, hey, Christmas tree. The kind of funky Christmas says, what up, people? Sketch says, I'm still eating Thanksgiving pork. Word. Because man says, an angelic voice called me here. I wonder whose voice it was. I love it. I love it. Let's see. My man says the reason for the season. Merry Christmas. So that's right. Sketch says, yo, I heard you met up with Critias. I did. I did. It was like Puerto Rican gumbo. It was awesome. Cosmetic says, hey, you. All right. All right. So tonight I am going to be working on a commission that I have to work on. It's a ghostwriter, Western ghostwriter mashup with, well, it's not a mashup, it's ghostwriter and Western Spawn, right? So that's going to be kind of cool. Nice Joker. Like my Joker. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Bam! There's my Joker. I'm in the middle of rearranging my studio. It is jacked up, but I'm expecting this to change soon. So we got the Christmas decorations down from the attic, and so this is where I is. The E to the double Liot. That's right. That's right. So yes, I'm just going to go ahead and get the camera put on to this. I'm going to show you my preliminary sketch first. Here's my preliminary sketch, as you can see. This is the Spawn character. This is the Ghostwriter character. So I did this last night. I think this was last night. I was quick. I was on for a short time with Ethan and the crew, and it was fun. The Spawn Who Laughs. I think it's the Spawn Who Laughs. I don't think so. Well, I mean, I laughed, but you know. All right, so I'm going to switch over real quick. Let's see. All right. Spawn, Spirit of Vengeance. Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool. So I'm putting on my glasses. So I'm a little embarrassed. I'm a little embarrassed because I've been away for so long and I don't know how to have this whole thing set up very well yet. So I'm kind of have this kind of thing going here. I'm holding this against my Cintiq. There's my Cintiq down there. So I'm gonna push my Cintiq back so I don't cause any more damage than necessary to the Cintiq. And I'm just gonna work off of the edge here. You guys are gonna see a little more than you probably want to see. There we go. I have to hold this up a little bit. A little bit. Hold on. Hold on. Let's make sure this is tight. All right. So I have it at an angle for myself so that I can see the paper straight. If I don't have it, if I have it flat like this, it's flat for you guys, but it's elongated this way for me. So it's going out off into the distance, and often what that produces is a weird drawing where the drawing looks longer than it is supposed to be. But as you can see, I did this preliminary sketch on something that's a little squattier. So I'm going to have to chop in some of my drawing, or I'm going to draw this less. I'm going to have to rearrange some of my elements. That's the danger of drawing on something that's not quite to the same ratio as your actual surface. This is 11 by 17. Excuse me, 11 by 17. A little bit of hiccup. What's up, Never Cold? Family first, just a sketch, right? Where? All right. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to fit the composition more or less. So I'm probably not going to use the full length. I'm probably not going to use all this or from the bottom. So you're kind of seeing this at an angle. In fact, what I'll do is I'm going to clip this after all, since I am considering raising this up a bit for myself. So come on, you can do it. You can do it, paper. I believe in you. I believe you, little paper. Okay. So this will help me. This will help me here just to kind of lean it upwards. This is something I would have on the side. Perhaps I'm going to move my preliminary sketch to the side as well, because it's too, the book is, well, I guess I could pull it off. Yeah, this works. This works. So I'm just trying to figure out where I want the drawing to begin. I think I want the top of his hat here. And I'm just going to do a loose interpretation tonight. I'm not going to go full speed into this because I have some other work I got to do, and I haven't gotten it done yet. So here we go. This is what happens when you play, when you try to have family time. Family time is not productive time, but it's necessary time. So then go figure. All right, so I'm gonna kind of just give this rootin' tootin' cowboy a top to his headgear here. Did I just see Mr. Malin pop in?
Hey, Elliot, how's it going?
Hey, brother, how are you, man?
Good. I'm drawing too on paper.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
No,
I'm
man, that's cool, man.
finishing
Yeah, I'm a
off
big
a
fan of your work.
commission right now, so sorry, guys, I don't have a hookup to show all this stuff.
Well, I
But
barely hear you, so I'm gonna raise your mic a little bit.
oh, wonder if my mic's going bad. I was hearing Mike was talking about raising my mic the other day too.
Oh, well, I just did. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. I wish I could see what you're working on. Man, I'm super excited about your talent search, man.
Oh yeah.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, Graveyard Shift is doing a talent search. We're looking for 2 writers and 2 artists to do about 20 pages of Graveyard Shift Volume 2. One of them may be, one of the 20 pages may be like an epilogue. We haven't zeroed down exactly where we want to go with that. But yeah, we're creating opportunities. We're fulfilling our promise, which was when I was promoting Graveyard Shift, about how we want to keep pulling from the Comicsgate talent pool for Graveyard Shift, and giving more opportunities within the community, since the support comes from largely from Comicsgate. So
That's
if
fantastic.
so if you are a writer or an artist, and you're Comicsgate, that's the only requirement. If you're a writer, send a PDF of any printed material you have to Koniwaves, KONIWAVES @gmail.com. That's Mark Polton's email. So if you have any problems, get a hold of Mark. He's taking care of the writing end. And if you have any art, I'm looking for sequential art, specifically pinups. No, but link it on Twitter. Do hashtag Comicsgate talent search, all one word. And I will be going through those every few days and just looking everything over, see what we got, taking notes. And December 15th is the deadline, 11:59 p.m. So anyone that's late, you're out.
Is that Eastern or Central?
Eastern time.
Wow.
11:59 p.m. Eastern time.
Gee whiz, what an opportunity, man, for anybody that's interested in being part of something like this, man. That's so cool.
Yeah, so how we haven't settled on final numbers, but all this is going to be paid work. and we're gonna have to get the scripts going almost immediately. And what we're looking at doing, without giving away numbers yet, is we are going to give people a page rate. We are going to give them a immediate bonus for completing the project on time. And then when the campaign is running, they will also be invested in the performance of the campaign, because just like we do with Nerd Wonder, for every so much raised, it will, as a stretch goal, it will give a bonus to the writers, the artists, the colorist. So everyone's going to make a little bit better money the more successful it is. So everyone gets a taste. So yeah, so I think it'll be a good opportunity for people. My first project in comics was me paying for myself. I had to pay $70 per page to get my first work published. So if we happen to choose somebody that this is their first work, it's going to be paid. It's all merit based. Anyone Comicsgate can enter. So we're not limiting it to just new people. We want to give the readers the best work that's available in the community. So
even I can enter?
You can enter for sure if you wanted.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Uh-oh. I probably won't make it. There's way better people out there than me, man. That's awesome, man. That is so cool, dude. I'm really happy to hear how you've been doing a great job of kind of incorporating everybody, involving the community still further along in everything that you're doing in your social media and everything, especially here on YouTube. So it's or I should say in particular YouTube. So it's awesome to hear that came out of that, man. That's really, really good. Really, really good, man. I'm super happy for you guys.
Well, thanks. Yeah. So this community made Graveyard Shift a success. So, and this is not something that every Comicsgater is going to do or should feel that they have to follow. This is something that Mark and I talked about and wanted to do specifically for Graveyard Shift as a thank you to everyone for their support. So, yes. So the more successful that volume, like this is volume 1 that's coming out right now. Volume 2, which will be launching in the spring, late spring, early summer of 2019. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah. So our goal is to do better than we did with this one. We did 106. We'd like to match it or do better. I think a good increase, a good successful increase, probably around 150. I'd like to see. Red Rooster did that, and we for that second volume are going to have a much thicker book. So we want to see if we can continue to build our audience, and the more successful that volume 2 will be, then we will also go into volume 3, and potentially we'll make it even bigger than volume 2. And we'll keep going like that. So the more people support the project, the more job opportunities there'll be within the community. And yeah, so.
You're hearing it here, guys. If you are interested in this, if this is something you think that you I want to be part of, please, by all means, get in contact. This is where everybody gets to put their own money where their mouth is, right? First, the Generation 1 Comicsgate guys put their time and effort into their projects and sold it. Now and everyone backed it, and then you hear all these people say different things at different times, and here's your opportunity. You get to put yourself out there now and be part of it. And I like what you say too. I think when you're aligning yourself with Comicsgate, there is a cost, right? There is a potential opportunity there for you to be criticized and put down, but that's really the point of what Comicsgate. That's the heart of Comicsgate, I would say. It's the opportunity to do what you got to do, which makes the most sense for you despite the circumstances, and to go for it. So this is where all of you who are creatives and are down to be part of something like this, and you can put yourself out there. Now, that said, there's a price to be had in presenting your stuff and putting it out there. I don't know John Malin very well personally, well enough, I should say, to say this. But I'm sure it's going to be a heated competition, and I'm sure you're going to put out some good critique on people's stuff.
Yeah, when they're on board, for sure. I will be on some level, you know, in an editorial capacity. But you know, that's why you look to hire the best people, so you don't have to do a lot of babysitting or corrections and whatnot. So, you know, hopefully I don't have to do much of that at all. But if I do, I will be there. So I'm going to be looking for professionals that can adjust professionally if there are any problems in the art. Yeah. So.
Yeah. But even the fact that you're going to put yourself out there to be reviewed, and maybe not even, you might not be the one selected. So it may not be. It's nothing. I know it's not going to be anything personal. It's just going to be what's good for the project, which is also a product, and good for you. You don't want to be the one that puts your stuff out there that's not the best it could be. So
yeah,
get sharpen those pencils, get out that Bristol board or your Cintiqs or mice or whatever you use, and jump on it, guys. That sounds exciting, man. I'm super stoked. I love that, man. When I was younger, when I was first thinking about getting into comics, I remember I used to see these articles in these magazines, and remember Wizard would post stuff, and I used to wonder, man, how do you get in there? And here it is, man. If you're entertained at all by the members of Comicsgate and the group at large, here's your chance to take it to the next level. To now you get to actually be part of it if you can. So Godspeed, guys. Good luck to all of you guys.
Yeah, and it's the submission process is as simple as I can make it, and it's not to mention that it's also very open. Everyone's going to be able to see all the art that goes into that hashtag Comicsgate talent search. So everyone can pull that up at any time, see what people are presenting of their work, and judge yourself by your competitors and do better than them.
Oh, that's awesome. That's sweet music to my ears.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. Very cool, man. So so tell us, so you gave us some updates as far as that's what I was excited about. I listened to, I was with bated breath because I did back that project, and I'm pumped up to receive that. How's it been as far as getting everything put together to the printers? What's been some of your experience, positive or negative?
The only negative experience that I've had so far is, and I mentioned this, I think I mentioned it on A Stream. I don't know if it was the one regarding the talent search, but the biggest problem I've had so far is and it's not necessarily Print Ninja's fault, but when I was on their site, my bank had a $3,000 limit on my business account. So I have like an LLC all set up. I have a bank account for that LLC. And when I went to pay the cost for the printer, I kept getting rejected. And I thought, well, maybe this is because I'm, something's case sensitive. So I had to try a few times. And eventually what happened was my bank just locked my account for suspected fraud. So basically what you have to do, to make a long story short, is you have to contact your bank the day you are doing this, and they can raise your limit and then they'll raise it for a 24-hour period, and then you make your purchase, and it should go through with no problem. Other than that, when Print Ninja has a little area for a memo when you're placing your order, putting notes here. And the one note I put was because I had to put in the delivery address and the billing address, So I said, all communications go to the billing address, which is me, so my email, my phone number, anything going on with this thing, the proof, it all goes to me. So the first thing they do is they send my payment confirmation not to me, but to Mark, who is the recipient for the delivery. So I don't like that at all. I'm like, come on, this is one memo. Everything goes to me. Don't screw it up. And the first thing they do is and they're like, oh, well, your agent, must have missed that. It's like, it's the only thing on my thing other than the order. And I'm just like, geez. And so that made me, that bothered me because I had spent all day dealing with this, fixing this fraud stuff so I could get this payment through. And then when it finally goes through, then Print Ninja's, screwing something up on their end. And I'm just like, I thought I was having another payment problem because I didn't get a confirmation. But they were sending my confirmation out to Mark. I'm just like, holy heck, man. But yeah, when you tackle in that what should have took 5 minutes, 10 minutes to make the order or to make the payment and, see you have a good day, when that took all day. And then for that Print Ninja thing to come up at the end, I was fired up. So,
you don't want to get John Malin fired up.
Yeah. So it's all taken care of now, and all the communications going the right stuff. So as soon as this weekend is over, because of the holidays, Print Ninja had a thing on there saying they were going to be out for, like 3 or 4 days of the week here. So this coming up week, we should have everything. We should be told that our files are in good shape, hopefully. And then we will be off to China for printing.
Wow. This is so exciting. Man, I love it. I love to hear the stories of how things come together, man. It's so cool. It's such a neat because you're doing this by yourself, so it demystifies the process to a point. Obviously you're not doing it at the same scale as a Marvel or a DC, but you are going through the pains of producing it and getting it out there, and then not only having the getting the funds together, but now also doing this part. So this part is really interesting to me because it gets anyone who's interested. I love that anyone that's on the chat now can hear this and kind of get an idea about what those steps might look like and what to expect. That's super important, I think, for anyone who's considering getting involved in crowdfunding.
Yeah, and it's all new to me as well. I've had plenty of books done, but in terms of acting as your own publisher, I mean, that is a different ball game. But I will say, everything on Print Ninja in terms of setting up your book to have it what you want, it was actually very simple. The site is done very well, right up through to the payment. So as long as your credit card isn't, there isn't a minimum that's blocking you from making this payment, I think that part will go pretty effortlessly. Definitely for me next time, but for anyone that heeds my warning. So,
beware.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, there you go. There you have it, kids. That's it. That's big updates from Malin's camp on his book and the production of said book and all the different things that you have to deal with in terms of that. So don't be afraid, though. It's all possible. You just got to put your head in the game there and get it done.
Yeah, and I am going to try and write up a step-by-step how-to.
No kidding.
Yeah, because when I figure all this stuff out, I'm gonna want to have all the notes for myself. So 6 months from now, when I forget half of this, But yeah, so this will be a guide for people. It will only be a guide for you to do it exactly the way I'm doing it. I'm not gonna. Yeah, this is not the how to work with everybody, but how to do what we did. And
that's almost an opportunity for its own book, its own something you can publish that way as well.
Yeah. I don't know if there'd be enough information. So, okay. Maybe if I prolonged it with all the behind the scenes drama of doing something like this. But yeah, I don't know if I could just do that Because right now, I mean, really, I mean, outside the stress, I mean, the process isn't that difficult. But
No.
to know who to contact, what you should be expecting cost wise, I think that's all pretty valuable information for people. I wish I had a step by step right now on what to do with everything, so I could just check it off.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm. That's what I think anyone would be happy to have that information. It's very, very gold information. Let's see here. I don't know what's going on here. People are talking some stuff. What's going on, everybody? Hey, Tim, how you doing? Some Sketch is asking, how do I write a prologue to a story I haven't read?
You don't.
You don't.
No.
Maybe he's thinking about, because that's something I was going to ask you also about the writer's part. You had mentioned that you wanted people to submit stuff that they had already. Is it published?
Yeah,
or
a PDF of something that was already created.
Okay.
Because to the best of my, what's that?
It doesn't have to be something published that image or anything like that necessarily, right?
No, it doesn't have to be image. It could be a web comic, a zine, something. But yeah, definitely nothing. I don't expect anyone to turn in anything Graveyard Shift related. So just show me not show me, but show Mark, what you guys can write. And Mark's going to be a guiding hand on, how all this is taken care of. So when people are brought on board, he's going to be there to answer any kind of questions about character motivation or how someone might act, and make sure it's all cohesive.
That's great. What's another question I had for you about that too? This is not quite related to what you're doing, but in a way it kind of is. Have you ever heard of a magazine called, is it called, it's not Creepy, it's called Creepers or something like that? They publish it still. I still find it at Barnes and Noble. And it's a bunch of, it looks like something like that. It looks like something that, I'm suggesting this to the crowd because I have a funny feeling if you guys check out that magazine, they publish 4 to 5 pages of different stories related to this character called the Creeper or something like that. It's like the old Creep Show or
Crypt Keeper.
Yeah, it's the Crypt Keeper, yeah, something like that. But actually, it's an old. It's from is it Warner Magazines or Warrant, something like that? Can't remember. Anyway, you guys should check it out. It might be something you can look at, or to Malin's point, if you just put it online as a even a web comic, you could put it on Webtoons or something like that. So that might be helpful to you guys who are interested getting something produced sooner than later. But you only have until the 15th, right, of December.
Yep, December 15th.
So it's not that far away. You guys have a lot to do in a short amount of time, so get it done. Get it done. Right on, man. I see Critias is hanging out in the background. He's creeping. Speaking of creeping.
Oh, hey, Antonio. He's muted.
Critias doesn't hear me. Oh, no. That's my Michael Jackson voice. He giggles when I do that. I do this for his amusement. Anyway, but so right on, man. So I appreciate you coming, man. That's awesome. I'm glad.
Yeah, Elliot, what are you drawing now? I saw you had an image like this. What?
Yeah, this was my preliminary sketch for
okay.
a commission that I'm working on. And I'm trying to. I'm having a hard time now because I just drew in a nice drawing, I think, of this Western Spawn guy. But now this Ghost Rider doesn't fit this ratio. I made a mistake. I should have drawn this in rectangles instead and make them look more like 11:17 ratio. So now I'm having a hard time with my composition. I'm trying to do it on the fly here. It's not quite working out as well as I'd like it to. So Ghost Rider keeps getting.
How much on your page is left on the bottom? It's kind of cut off on the screen.
I'll show you. What I'm thinking about doing is doing a larger portrait of Ghost Rider's head as a solution. Instead of doing it something close to the same size. They were too close anyway. I think I drew in too large. So I have about this much. So I'm thinking about occupying this much space with the Ghost Rider's head and having the flames coming this way, like I have in the original sketch here. I don't know if you can see that or not. Yeah. Having the flames coming up this way, and then having the smoke from his gun coming up and across his back, just to help give it a circular composition.
Yeah.
I think it'll work because I think he was too. Even in this sketch, this was neat, but I wanted to do a little more of almost a movie poster concept. So at this size, I might not be able to include the hand with the gun, but at least I'll have his portrait, and I can always create some cool graphic devices with his collar to help it kind of create the direction that I need. The little arrows, I call them graphic arrows.
Yeah.
Sort
I
of.
don't know.
Not really.
To me, it looks like you have enough room, but you know, you're better at this than me. See, me, I'm digital, so that part of my brain just shuts off, and I just grab whatever I need and I move it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that's the downside, but this is a commission that someone actually wants to put up. And they're a big fan of this character in particular. And I think this one was more of like a throw in. So I think if I can kind of do something clever with him as an element that's larger anyway, because they were probably too close in size here anyway for the sake of the composition. So doing it this way gives me a little bit of room to kind of emphasize one over the other, at least aesthetically. And then I can kind of, maybe you're right. Maybe I can still fit in his hand. Well,
well, yeah. So with digital, like right now, like I was saying, I'm working on a commission right now. But this thing, it's a Gambit. I actually drew it on a live stream, maybe a week ago.
Can you put it up or no?
What, the image that I'm working on right now?
Yeah, you can't, right? You said you don't have
no,
for it.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of setup.
Okay.
But I sketched it all out digitally, did pretty good details. And then I printed it out. My printer sucks, but it's 11 by 17 printer. And I printed it black, but it came out pink, probably because my cartridges are junk. But then but I did, I printed it on a scrap paper, and then I light boxed it onto actual comic board. Strathmore. It's actually the line stuff that you can get from like Hobby Lobby.
Yes. Now, so what kind of when you do you say you do it in blue line?
No, I just print it out on scrap paper and then I light box it.
Oh, you light box it. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's another. Yeah, I guess that's the other way. Some people take it and they'll just blue line it.
If my printer didn't suck, if it wasn't like a piece of garbage right now, what I have done in the past is I'll fade the blue line to like 5%, and I'll print that directly onto the board.
Yeah, I have done that. I was going to ask you if you ever use a different form, but that's about right. About 5% is a good percentage to get what you need out of it versus because it seems like there's a weird spot in the middle where if you don't have it low enough, it prints almost about the same intensity as you would print at a higher or lower percentage. There's a weird sweet spot. It has to be at that lower about the 5% is what I've experienced.
Yeah, so I just don't want the blue to be in my way. I want it as a guide, and then I'll just draw real lightly over it. Just kind of building the drawing back up on top of it, and I think when I was doing that, I would end up in ink. So I don't think I've done many pencil that ends up just pencil.
You know what? I might just, that's a great idea. I might just take this, scan this, bring it into Photoshop. It'll save me some time. I like the idea of playing around with it a little more than doing this here, because this is getting annoying really fast.
That spawn you got going on there looks great though. Are you gonna
probably scan both?
Yeah.
And then I'll use this as my line art for that part, but I'll rework Ghost Rider in Photoshop.
Yeah.
Oh, good ideas.
So you don't think you have room for the gun in there?
No, I'm running out of space here. Like this is the bottom edge. If at this size, if I make him this size, no, because I already have. I mean, his hand would be here. The gun would have to come out this way. It's for the
So
hand to be proportionate to the skull.
yeah,
So if I
you
reduce it
keep
though,
it pretty close to your layout then,
you know what?
almost like a computer.
Mm,
See, that's it too. Like I can't do what you're doing, to reproduce just side by side, because everything would just I'd change this, I'd change that, but like I just try to get like the essence of what I'm going for in the layout. It's probably 90% close to what turns out to be the original.
See what I'm losing here? This is another thing. What I'm losing here is parts of the hand that was cool. Of course, I had the hand a little tilted. See, that's close to your point. This is why I still like working digital too.
I was muted this whole time. I didn't notice.
We told you were muted.
No, but I have like a headphone where you can mute from the headphones also. So I didn't know that was off. I'm over here talking to you guys. I'm like, yo, why are they not responding to me? They ignoring me?
Curious. Why didn't you hear you, curious? Michael Jackson said he didn't hear you, curious.
I was just saying, why are you letting this Vietnamese guy show you off, Elliot?
Well, me and Malin, we go way back to like,
back
early
in
summer.
time.
Yeah, I'm gonna go watch Full Metal Jacket from a different perspective now.
You're gonna see it from the Vietnamese eyes?
Yep. My people.
It's not gonna be the same now. It's gonna be different.
Yeah.
Hey Elliot, see, I want to redesign Young Glory, right?
Yes, sir.
So I'm lucky I went with the idea because I just saw somebody has an Indiegogo project that's coming out, and they all look like they're in a what do you call that? Olympic uniform. Sounds like
all right.
So I was trying to reinvent her career, maybe something with her career, and I thought about maybe she could be a dancer who comes out with like an American type uniform.
So she'll have leg warmers, like.
So it'd be like American Glory. I mean, Young Glory will be her dance name,
Whoa. What kind of dance are we talking about here?
Yeah, those type of dancers.
Oh,
but
yeah, but actually.
Right. Story. So I was thinking that then the guy goes to the club she works in, and he's obsessed with her, and he goes from there. Yeah.
Nice. So let's set up a online thing. We'll do it live.
Yeah, whenever you got time.
Yeah. We'll do it again.
Have you guys heard about this uncontacted tribe thing that was going on?
Is it the missionary guy that
Yeah.
I did hear about that actually.
Yeah, I was just catching up on some of this. So some missionary guy went to a island that's off of, it looked like it was off of like, people were saying India, but it looked like it was closer to, I don't know, Thailand or something. But these people have been uncontacted, and like they're violent. So they've had, anytime people will go up on their shore, they're attacked with like bow and arrow. Like they're only there to like pretty much kill you. They don't want you there at all. And this missionary guy went there knowing that, spread the gospel, and they killed him and they buried him on the beach. And now people are trying to get the body back, but there's only so much they can do because they don't want to mess with an uncontacted tribe. Yeah. So also you have to like, the missionary is a jackass though, because just like when Europeans came to the Americas, you have all that disease, and you very well could pass diseases off to these tribal people and wipe whatever's left of them out.
Right.
So it was really stupid for him to be there in the first place.
I'll come back with something too.
Yeah. So
I don't know about that, John. I've heard a lot of stories in the past of missionaries making trips into indigenous people groups, and that wasn't always necessarily the after effect at all. But I mean, and this isn't the first time someone's done something like that, where they've gone into a place knowing they were going to be harmed, even.
But that's the thing, like
even critically.
Like all right. So me and you were both Christians, right?
Yeah.
And I've always been taught since I was a kid, you don't go nowhere without God's guidance. Well,
there's another story like this too. It's interesting because this is almost a duplicate of another story about a guy named John Elliot. I think it's Jim Elliot was his name. Another missionary. and something very similar happened to him. He ended up dying. He was killed on the beach. It's a very similar story, which made me think at first that this was is this like a weird. I mean, obviously it's not a hoax, but I'm just weird that it happened to be almost exactly the same. And it turned out that the man who killed the missionary's son went back later, and they became so close that he calls that man now his new father, because they became like family.
Congrats.
Wow.
No, yeah. Well, it's a weird story for sure, but it is a story, and it did happen.
Right.
You know, and now they work together now in some of that. So
yeah,
I saw a movie one time.
I'd put a spear through him.
Well, they tried.
Like,
and then
that's for my dad.
Well, the idea was, the concept was to go out there and reach them for the gospel,
Right.
For Christ, and so so he showed them tremendous compassion or mercy, obviously, because I probably would have felt the same way. I'm not cut out like for that type of stuff, so it's. But I can see what you mean though about that for sure.
To your point about what you were saying earlier, though, about how sometimes you can go there and not do that. Yeah, sure. But who's going to make that decision? Are you going to make a decision for 50 to 100 people? Whether or not they potentially die from disease.
Right.
I'm not sure that that's even the conversation that's happening when that's going on. It's likely that discussion probably didn't happen when he went up there. He was probably more concerned.
I assume the guy had to have considered at some point. This is a uncontacted tribe. I could very well wipe them all out with a sneeze.
Like I said, I've worked with missionaries before where they've reached out to indigenous people, and that wasn't exactly the result. But, so I mean, yeah, I guess I can. Well, I can see that.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not always the result, but who's going to make that call? Just some guy?
Well, yeah.
Hey, John, real quick, not to change the conversation on you, but I know somebody that that's from China, and he's writing to me, and he's saying that I'm gonna read what he basically wrote. It says, something came to my mind while listening to John Malin's stream. If any creators are using China-based printer services, we'll have to take note that there are normally a long holiday during the Chinese New Year period, end of July to early February. Many services will be delayed or affected.
Well, whatever. If it happens, it happens. There's nothing I can do about it. So I'll still be on time, even with a delay. That's why I tell everybody, put that 2-month buffer in there, guys.
Right.
So even when stuff happens that you don't plan about, my goal is I'm hopefully still going to be early on my delivery, but I'm definitely going to be on time. I'd be hard pressed to see how I could not be on time. That's good planning. So
yeah.
That's why I encourage it for everybody. But yeah, it could happen. But look, even if the worst happened, like say China, their holidays screws this up somehow, the boat sinks, I don't know, say all the worst stuff happens. All I'm going to do is I'm going to tell everybody exactly what happens, and everybody's going to say, they're still going to say, well, John did everything, to make this work. So they're going to understand when it's completely out of my hands and, act of God type deals and whatnot. So
John went on a boat and he tried to find the sunken ship to get his cargo, and
he swam out there himself, man.
And it becomes a Clive Cussler novel. Ex-military John Malin.
Yeah, I gotta get those books.
And you find a lost city of gold.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's another book right there.
Yeah, you find one of those treasures, those sunken treasures in the ocean that's missing. Those billions and billions of dollars.
I wish. In my way, I'd spear him with my scuba gun.
Well, that's also in those books too.
I just wanted to drive that back home with a spear somehow.
That's good times. That's good times.
It looks better than the last skull you just did.
Well, the last one was still, I was still trying to figure out how large. I don't draw large very well.
Right.
That's another good reason to use digital tools, because I tend to overdo it with my proportions. Here I can control the proportions a lot more. I still feel like I'm. Oh, shit. Did you hear that? Something just fell out in the back of my house. My kids are creeping. They got to go to school tomorrow, and they're all trying not to do anything like that. This is why I'm all for long school years. So vacations always ruin them. Okay,
Yeah.
so now, John, I'm going to draw that hand again, or at least the sketch of where that hand's going to go. I kind of have to do it still, even if I switch over to digital, because I called the show working on the commission. So at least I'll just keep working on it. See, this is my this is me trying to impress you with for my shot at graveyard shit.
432 Hex says, I know a young Hispanic lady that she's in China for the past 5 years preaching the gospel hidden. Yeah, I know. I've heard a story like that. People like in bunkers, or like, what do you call that, underground, and caves. You know, they're not allowed to preach the gospel. Yeah, they're not allowed to preach the gospel over there. It's a crime.
Same thing in Turkey also.
All right.
In Turkey, you go to prison right away if you even mention them. I had a friend who was in the Navy who experienced that.
Oh.
Now, he didn't experience it firsthand. He saw it happen to missionaries while he was there.
Nevercole says, if you show up looking all Master Chief and their weapons have no effect on you, do you think they consider you a god?
I think if you show up in a pair of khakis, they're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, what kind of material is this?" I mean, it'd be like the day the Earth stood still, and the dude's wearing like the aluminum looking suit, the silvery deal. Yeah, an uncontacted tribe would be what kind of material, space age, mystical, magical material is this? Corduroy.
Right.
So I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it's going to take much, man. Look, I mean, we all grew up in where we see a pair of jeans every day. You know, I mean, we don't think twice about the material or anything like that. Well, I don't. And I mean,
well, if you think about it, you know what I mean? Like, even if they go on contact, the next generation just evolves. You know, they become more civilized. I would say, or civil, whatever.
I don't know. These guys don't seem very civil. But also the size of the island, like it might not be a very like a big gene pool.
Right.
So just saying. I don't know that for sure. I mean, they could have some underground paradise under some mountains there or something, but I think it's only about a 30-mile, whatever, wide island. And
I don't know, John. Even still, if you think about it, though, every society was uncontacted at some point, and it wasn't a complete disaster for every culture.
Yeah, because they went to the neighboring tribes and they made deals, or they kidnapped the women. I mean, they worked around it, Elliot.
What do they think? What if they think by killing you, they become like immortal or something like that, or get good health?
That happened to the Taino Indians in Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah.
So the Spaniards came, they showed up, and they thought that they were going to.
They took the gold. They made them take their own gold, and they brought African slaves to breed the people, to get more slaves, to dig more for more gold. And then Christopher Columbus was tried in Spain for that.
But I kind of blame the Vietnamese at this point. Oh, yeah, sorry, John.
Yeah. Yeah, don't get me started on the evils of my people. Forever.
Yucky Gum Comics says, John Malin, what does Graveyard Shift fight?
Well, I don't want to go too much in detail. They fight a company called the Atlantis Corporation, which created them and has ulterior motives. But you guys will see.
All right.
I know I will.
Yep. People who
Yeah,
got
me
the
too.
book, they're definitely gonna know.
Yep, I got the book. Yeah, I've been
But
thinking
yeah, I
about
mean,
what you said.
I wanted to keep, like even the cover, like I haven't shown anybody the cover for it because I figured when this shows up on people's doors, I want people to still have a bit of surprise and excitement when they open that package. So, not everything is going to be familiar to them. Kind of like when you go to the comic shop. Well, at least when you're a kid, before you knew what that next comic was going to look like, and you show up there and you're like, oh, whoa, that's a cool cover.
Mm,
So I wanted to have impact when it shows up on people's doors. At this point, it doesn't really do me much good to pitch beyond anything because all the copies are sold,
right.
and anything at this point is spoilery material that isn't necessarily selling any more copies.
So no second print for you.
Hmm.
You don't plan to do second prints then?
Yeah, we'll probably do something like that because obviously when we run the second campaign, we want to build the audience.
Mm-hmm.
So if all they can get is the second book, then they're going to be like, oh, well, I'm kind of missing the first book. How do I get the first book? So yeah, we'll probably offer a second print or something. So
That's cool.
mm-hmm.
Is that going to be in your how-to manual?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it depends, I guess, if you're doing a serialized project.
You know what you should do? You should do it as an SOP and have those little cheesy drawings in there. Oh, like the those army drawings that they used to use with like the super generic characters.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
I was thinking about doing the variant, just that's it. Like this is the only time people gonna get the variants for that special that I got up. I don't think I'm gonna release another. I'm not gonna release it. I think that's it. Like this is the sale that I have going for the holiday special. I think that's what I'm gonna do for the variant. That's it. I'm gonna lock it up, so it's gonna be like limited edition. Collectible.
How are you doing a holiday special? Are you just creating another tier in your campaign?
Yeah, I've created another tier. What I did was I added the cover art by Malin Miller and Malin. Oh my goodness, by Kanan Miller and Donald. So they get three different covers for $40.
Yeah, you would have been better off with Malin before Kanan.
Yeah, but Malin's always busy, man.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. Well, Malin's always yelling. Also,
that's definitely true.
Which is why he's my hero.
Oh, you gotta spur God on the right people, and
right. Yeah, that stream with Nick Recreator, that was the best stream I've seen you on.
Yeah. Well, that would have been in that case the right people, because I mean I was driven to my wit's end with this BS kind of going on about how people think Ethan should be running his own channel business. It's like, it is his own business. It's his own business. Mind your business. I mean, they're talking about business. It's not just you being silent. It's just get out of somebody else's business, dude. Right. And everybody just wants to get a piece of Ethan. Look, I understand it, man. I mean, Ethan is a golden ring in some regards because he has such a large audience.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone has to respect that that's still Ethan's audience, and Ethan can do whatever he wants. At any time we are not, on that channel, and he decides that, then that's it. Like, we keep going on. We can't be bitter and feel like we're being screwed over by Ethan because our business isn't going well, or he's not giving us a platform we feel we deserve. And I think in a lot of regards, some of these people are trying to set up a foundation of trying to make Ethan feel like that's what is going to be expected of him. Right. And, like, hey, when my campaign comes out, just so you know, I want you there. Like, dude, what? So we all run our own business.
I noticed that the last 3 debates that Nick Ricita had with Ethan on, they were pointless, like completely pointless. Like, it was just a waste of Ethan's time and yours time too. The last one he was on,
yeah, I didn't know where that was coming from. I just found out about it, and then Ethan, I was watching War Campaign, and Ethan's like, hey John, you want to go on? And I was like, sure, because I just felt like, Ethan is always getting into these positions to have him defend himself, and
Mhm.
you got to get in there and take some licks too.
Right.
So. And I definitely don't, I'm definitely coming from the position that I don't agree with, what these people's positions were.
Right. Right.
The reality is it hasn't really changed much from what I'm hearing, right? That people are still criticizing one way or the other.
Yeah.
The
Sure.
foolishness.
That's the thing. People would never be satisfied. They will always find something to bicker about, cry about, or whine about.
Haters gonna hate.
What's going on, Andrew?
Oh, what's up, Andrew?
What
Just
up?
stuck in there. Another ninja.
Yep. Stealth.
Just don't do what I
Yeah.
did. I had my mic on mute the whole time without realizing it.
Yeah, you were a ninja to yourself.
I was talking to you guys. I'm like, man, these guys are just ignoring me. I just kept talking, and I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, I wonder if my mic is too low too, because I had that happened to me on the other night with Ethan. I was like, I'm trying to jump in and say something. I was like, oh man, I guess I'm not really either. They don't know I'm online
Right.
or on the thing. And I think John was ignoring me. He just said, well, this guy is just kind of chubby.
No, I wouldn't ignore anybody.
No, I never do that. But you're here now. That's how I know.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I know the love is real.
Yeah.
All right, so I like this hand. This hand was cool. I kind of like what's going on here after all. It's not too different from my sketch. It's working. But this hat, though, is stupid. It's like a 50-gallon hat. It's not even a hat that makes sense.
Those are like one of the Undertaker hats
Is that what that is supposed to be?
from the Westerns. Yeah, they have hats like that.
No, those are more like, well, I guess they're different types, but they're more like.
Oh, did you hear that immigrant caravan rushed the border?
They did?
Yeah.
After all?
Yeah, like a bunch of them. Like broad daylight started trying to rush the border.
Did they get through?
Did
It looked like a zombie movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I saw, I don't know, I didn't see much of it. I saw one little quick clip, and it looked like a good 100 people trying to go, but I think it was all over different areas. So I did that once at a concert. It worked.
You got in?
We're like, we're gonna rush past this dude, man. Yeah, because we're trying to get to like a lower level. I think it was a Korn concert. And yeah, so we're trying to get to this, a little closer to the stage type deal. And they have one security guy sitting there. And then everybody's like at the end of this tunnel, and we're like, are you guys ready? Yeah, let's do it. And we did it. We all rushed them.
Oh.
Yep. Run in there, grab a seat, sit down. That was it.
I gotta read up on this, see what's going on with that. Oh, man, it's a dangerous times, man.
Yeah.
Dangerous times.
So, John, what's the minimum you accept for pages? Because right now, all I got is like maybe 3 or 4 pages with wording.
Oh, for writing?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Whatever. I mean, this is really Mark's.
Unless you want my children's book.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, John, can you talk about that again? Because I missed that whole talent search thing.
Oh, if you are an artist and you are in Comicsgate, or a writer and in Comicsgate, then you are welcome to enter the Graveyard Shift talent search. If you're an artist, which you are, Andrew, use tag your work to hashtag Comicsgate talent search. Everyone's allowed to enter. So if you're looking for work, Andrew, yeah, you'll be considered for sure.
What is the, like, I guess, prize, or what happens for the
right now we're thinking it'll probably be about 20 pages for each artist selected. There'll be a page rate that's given, and upon on-time delivery, everyone will get an automatic pay increase. And then when the campaign is launched, there will also be bonuses worked into the campaign as well. And we hope the campaign will run, because we're adding 60 extra pages to the book,
to the graveyard shift.
Yeah, to the main book. So when people are buying a $25 book, it'll be about 100 pages of straight art.
And it's going to be more graveyard shift content, or just separate content from new
more graveyard shift content. This will all be straight up graveyard shift stuff. So
so it's like, let's say if I do it, I get in there, I'm drawing graveyard shift.
You would be drawing whatever the writer or Mark would have. Yeah. So it might be a singular character story. We're gonna have an epilogue, we think, and yeah.
That sounds like an awesome idea, man.
Yeah. So if you or any other artists that are interested, they can just link any art to #ComicsGate Talent Search.
I'll try to tell my homies.
Yeah. Yeah. So we hope to get a pretty decent turnout. There's already some pages on that people have been turning in. And that's what I was saying too, is that's what's kind of cool, is everyone will be able to see what your competition is.
Yeah.
There's no hiding here. And especially with art, that's what I think is great, is art can be subjective, but people do know when somebody's just a total killer and got hired. There's no doubt there. So
that's the best stuff that's kind of missing in comics nowadays. Like, remember talent searches and just prizes, just cool little for the fans to take part in. Like, that's gone. Like Marvel and DC, those workshops that they did were all kind of BS. So it's good to kind of bring it back and give it to the fans, or potential artists and stuff. So yeah. I like that, man. That's cool. It's bringing it back to the Wizard days, to old Marvel, old Image. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, but I like the out in the open part of it.
No, yeah, that's cool too. But yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Because what happens behind closed doors, and so the only deal is everyone has to be Comicsgate. So I mean, it's
claim
not
your rights.
Yeah, it's not just we're not just another publisher. They're going to take heat potentially.
Yeah.
For being affiliated on this project. So
of course, it's like you got to know what you're getting into, basically.
Right. Yep. So.
Because don't be acting like this is going to get you a job at Marvel or DC.
Right, exactly. Because it could very well do the exact opposite. But we already have, like I said, we already have people turning in stuff, and I think the stigma is going to eventually go away from Comicsgate. I think 2019 is going to largely do that, because things like all caps are going to make this movement a lot more legitimate.
Yeah, and then once they see the actual books, they're gonna be like, "Oh, yep, these guys are real."
Yep, and they'll be like, "Oh, these guys are doing good books." So, and then that'll help everybody get out here into the market. But look, I mean, I really do think we're at the beginning of it. We're the first ones on the wave, but there could be a tsunami coming. So do what you can do now, and prepare for whatever the future may be, because competition, I think, is going to dramatically increase, not just within Comicsgate, but I see within a year or two, large amounts of established pros starting to do what we're doing, including building YouTube channels and stronger relations with their fans and putting out their own material. And me, I'm going to be just like everybody else. If Travis Ray did a crowdfund today, Comicsgate or not, I'm getting in on it. I'm buying whatever Travis Ray is going to put out. If it was a book, I'm not all about like art books and stuff. But if he was doing like a straight up comic, I'd be like, damn, I'm in.
What is he doing lately?
Smoking a lot of weed is my guess.
Oh, he's into that.
Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, yeah, he's a big pothead.
Oh, we need to hang out then.
Yeah. Rumor, guys. I don't know. I don't know this for a fact. But that's what I heard. Is at least back in the day, he used to be.
That explains the art, because all that detail. If you get in the zone, then you're just like,
yeah,
you get crazy in that detail.
Yeah. But no, I think he just lives off commissions now.
Yeah, man, he's paid his dues for sure.
Well, I mean, he peaked. I mean, he managed to do in, I don't know, 5-10 years, what people try to do their entire lives, and prove yourself as a complete all-in-one artist on an entirely different level. Now, I did see some of his covers that he was doing this year at Marvel, and I wasn't blown away. I actually was like, oh, that's Travis Charest right now.
I think, honestly, a lot of the, Travis, how do you say it? Is it Lionel Yu? How do you say his name?
I say Lionel. Okay. Lionel.
Well,
yeah,
those guys, I feel like they're just phoning it in at Marvel, dude.
Oh yeah, yeah. Look, I mean, you look at what he was doing. Oh, what was that? Was that Civil War when Jeff Loeb?
Civil War, he was kicking all kinds of ass, man.
Yeah, he was on fire, man. And even that New Avengers stuff, and I mean the art, all that detail and the crazy rendering, it was really fun to look at. And now it's just it's just broken down to, I'm gonna get this done, get paid, and go back and play video games.
Yeah, and I'm sure they don't like the direction, but they're clearly not going to rock the boat. So
yeah, well, that's why you need a leader. You need someone out there to remind people, hey, if you're not delivering at that high level, you are going to be on the chopping block. And have real honest conversations with your talent about it too. Say, look, we expect you to be here for the pay that we give you, but we are seeing you are not really doing what you were doing when we were paying you that huge amount of money. So we are considering cutting your pay, on your next contract. So, well, I'm going to go to DC and be like, okay. And I love Lionel Yu's work too, man. So, I mean, you guys look at my rendering. I mean, a lot of it is inspired by what he was doing back then. Like the big crazy veins. The Wolverine, Hulk stuff, right? Yeah. So
yeah,
I mean,
used to, around that time, I guess I was aping him, or I was like taking his rendering techniques. I applied it. This was before I got all crazy with my art. So yeah, I had like the veins, like you're talking about, the little lines on every little, I did all that, and then after that, I got into the weird shapes and stuff.
Yeah, I was never that impressed with his stuff like that. I thought that his stuff was too loose, weirdly loose in the interior lines, and it just didn't have it wasn't as appealing to me as some of the other tighter artists. But obviously, it's hard. He managed to keep his stuff readable, but sometimes I remember he did which I liked his work on Rebirth, Superman Rebirth, but it was odd. There was some moments there where
Birthright.
Birthright. That's it. That's it.
That was very clean and very
sometimes his characters would look dead, like they looked like they were lifeless. They didn't have any life to them. Which is that was the only thing. Like if a character was communicating with someone else, like they would get into an action thing, all of a sudden they look like zombies for a moment. It wasn't all the time, but it was just enough for me to be like, I don't think I like him anymore.
Yeah, he was also strong on 3D modeling back then too. Like a lot of the settings, he probably still does do them a lot, but he might have been doing some poser stuff with the faces back then. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that was popular around that time. I remember.
Maybe. The stuff that I thought that was the most interesting was his stuff on Secret War when the Skrull invasion stuff. There's a couple of moments there that I was impressed with, and then after that, I didn't think he was.
Oh, probably because that was inked again.
Yeah, it was inked.
Yeah,
He was pencils, then he got inked on that Secret Invasion. That event is what made me stop reading Marvel.
yeah. Elliot's
Really?
an ink snob.
Ah,
Yeah, it's all coming out now. Elliot, tell
it
us
all
more.
makes sense.
Sorry. So,
So I know what
But
to
yeah,
get you for Christmas. Just a bottle of ink.
no, I got 6 of them already ready to go. But no, I respect his ability. It's just it just was off. It was hard for me to follow him, and I stopped using him as an inspiration for me because in the beginning it was like, oh, he's got these cool things, like what he did with Miller. What was that thing he did? Oh man, I can't. It's not irredeemable. It's something
Oh,
else.
Superior.
Is that what that was? Something like
Isn't
that.
it Evil Batman or no? Not Evil Batman.
That's
It
Nemesis.
was a weird Superman guy. It was this dude that was
It's
it looked
Superior.
good. Superior, yeah. It looked pretty.
I got the hardcover on my desk, Elliot.
Of what?
Superior. Mark Miller, Lionel Yu. Superior.
Well, why are you fighting with me? I just said, yeah, you're right.
No, you're still challenging me, Elliot.
I'm not challenging. What the hell's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? But no, the other thing I thought was good, but it didn't hold up for me was there's something dragons. What was that? The steel dragons or something like. It was one of his
Double
earlier
Dragon.
things. Huh? What was
No,
it?
I said Double Dragon.
No. No. It was a oh gee whiz. Maybe somebody in the chat will remember. But it was I don't even remember the story. I just
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that was another Lionel Yu book, right?
yeah.
That was when he kind of started doing his scratchy thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. Because I think when he was doing his Wolverine stuff, it was more cleaner or it was interesting. It was more.
Wasn't that one book you're talking about? Was it Wildstorm?
I think it was. Yeah.
Silent Dragon.
Wildstorm.
Silent Dragon. Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Silent but deadly.
See, I tell Elliot what it is, and he still says, "I think that's what it was."
Because if I'm wrong, then I'm
not wrong. I'm not wrong.
No, I understand you're always right, John. I'm just saying that I might be talking about a different thing. Golly.
Why do you hate me so much, Elliot?
It's all love.
I don't know.
Well, that's what they say.
Here, I'm going to make Elliot feel verified here. I'm going to share.
Oh, it's okay. It's all good.
Watch.
I don't know why I thought it didn't have the dragon part.
There you go, Elliot.
What am I looking at? Oh, wait. Let me share what I present to everyone. That's it. Yes, that's it. Yeah, you were right as usual, John. But,
and it is Wildstorm.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got it. You're right.
I used to read comics back then.
Yeah. Now, the thing I loved the most about him was the way he did Wolverine's cowl. That when he had, let me see if I could draw it here. He did this cool thing where Wolverine's cowl comes like this, and it had like a blade shape to it on the inside of it. I thought that was cool. That was my favorite thing he brought to that book.
Mm.
I always like Paul Smith's interpretation of this, of course, but man, that was really unique. And I to this day I still draw Wolverine with that cowl. So I can, he has a good design sense. It's just some of the other stuff he did. He reminds me a lot of who was that French Sauvé? Is his name, I think, something Sauvé. He was the guy that did some work on Men in Black and the G.I. Joe animation. Was it the Renegades? That Clement Sauvé is this guy's name. He's a concept artist. He had a look like that, which I still think to this day.
Yeah,
although I can't claim any of his stuff. As much as he's influenced me as a creative person, he doesn't influence my work though. I'm a lot more lining, have more round shapes in my work. Well, you know, John's right. Let's see here. Right, I kind of like what's going on here, John. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Oh, looks good.
I kind of wish we get some smoke from the gun and flames from his body.
Yeah, you got a nice little kind of circular flow going on to the whole deal.
Yeah, yeah. This helped here to give it kind of like an oblong shape up here, so it comes across like a rhombus. It's more interesting than just going around.
Oh, Art Taber is in chat, and he's shilling for inkers. It says you always need an inker.
Always, he says, always, with emphasis.
Yeah, I had to warn him. I told him I will not allow that type of positivity in your channel. I'm gonna have to ban him.
Stay off my lawn. Art. I love Art.
Like Clint Eastwood and Gran Torino. That was a good movie.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Yeah.
When he aims his two fingers.
Okay. So now I'm gonna just need some reference for these pistols because I have no idea.
What are you working on, Elliot?
Commission here for Spawn, Western Spawn, and Western Ghost Rider.
Yep. Same here. Working on a commission. Drawing a little Western bar scene.
Oh my goodness. We're almost
with
related, John. Not quite. No Vietnamese in me.
Oh no Vietnamese. This is.
I'm actually really curious. I want to do that too, but I've heard some mixed things about those things. They may not be as.
Yeah, I haven't done it. Look, man, I don't want to make it easy for the cops to get me. You know, should I choose to do anything? But even on a more serious note, you know, the paranoia of a government out of control. Once they have your DNA, you know what kind of shit they could frame you for, and I just don't want to make it easy on people. Same with why I don't want to give out my age, and my information's out there, but you're gonna have to work for it. You know.
I got your age.
I bet.
25.
It's true.
17.
Yeah, there it is, everybody.
Yeah.
What you got going on, Andrew?
On me?
Yeah.
I'm setting up the Apple TV.
Nice.
Yeah.
What can you do with an Apple TV? Is that just like a cable box type deal, or is that an actual TV?
No, yeah, it's a little box, and I'm just signing in and getting all these apps, my stuff, like my kids' things read. Like he watches Netflix, I watch UFC, so I'm getting all that stuff put together.
Nice.
Hey guys in the chat, hit the like button. For every like, Elliot's art improves.
I liked it. I liked the video.
Thank you, man. It's like a magic bean. It just grows and grows.
You got to get Elliot more viewers, dude, because he draws too good.
Yeah.
There's no love for the drawings. They like the comedy, and they're not that funny. But John is hilarious.
At times.
John is the pot of gold you find at the end of the rainbow.
Oh.
Everybody's always looking for him, but they don't find him.
Wow. He's a golden unicorn.
Yeah.
So
you got 2 likes.
Did they ever discover? Oh, nice, thanks, guys. Did they ever? What was the whole situation with this Comicsgate girl? What was her whole deal? And was it the same thing that happened to that other gal that they said that wasn't real or something? Is that who that was?
I think she's real. I think she, whatever went on Ethan's deal, I think she took some heat and she backed off and didn't, I guess, didn't quite know to what extent things were going on. I don't know. That's from my point of view. I could be completely misinformed.
All right.
I have no idea exactly what's going on. Every time I look into the chat, I see a thousand things going on. Everyone's upset.
Well, she was on last night on Ethan's stream. Yeah.
Was that her?
Yeah, Ava. That's the name.
Okay. All right. Well, good.
Everything good with that? I just realized she came back.
I really don't know what's the situation. I try not to look too much into what's going on and Twitter drama.
Yeah, there's a lot, so I just
I just ignore it or I avoid it because it's not my business.
Yeah.
But
I kind of try to make light of everything because at the end of the day, it's like it is drama, but it's not that bad to me, So I just try to make it fun a little bit because people are already going through a lot of stuff, I'm sure. So.
Yeah. Well, it's always as much as you want to get out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
The people who usually complain that things are getting too much out of control or whatever are usually the people that are always over and over again knee deep into some trivial ass crap.
Yeah, they're like knee deep in that stuff.
Yeah. And then they're the same ones being like, I just want peace. Like, no, you're always in this. Always. Yeah. So
that's awesome, dude.
I keep a distance from all that stuff. And, I really don't feel, like even when all this stuff was going on that led to that debate, like there was another supposed big division. I wasn't aware of it.
Right.
It's like people are always doing back and forth stuff, and it's all depending on how much you want to put yourself down that rabbit hole.
You know what I kind of feel like too, and I don't know. I'm sure some people are just guilty of it, but I feel like the people that are just always complaining, I feel like they just want attention. Like they just they're trying to build up their platform or their followers.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like for instance, the debate. I had no idea there was like another faction of people or Comicsgate or whatever it was. And I'm like, who are these guys? And I looked them up, and I'm sure they're nice guys, but it felt like they wanted to build up their brand or who they are. Yeah. And I feel like that's the wrong way to go about it because, we all kind of build up our names by what we do, like our books, our art, our writing, our YouTube videos, but to like just feed it off a drama like a Renfamous, it's like there's nothing comes out of that. You get a lot of followers, but you're not providing anything else. You just create drama constantly.
Right.
Like where do you make the money? Where at the end, what's gonna happen? So
and not only that, you come across one of these like weirdos that they take things too personally. I mean, they really want to come and hurt you.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Like if the drama's not in my face personally, I try not to pay too much attention to it, especially when it's online.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah, it's healthy to step out of that stuff as much as possible, guys.
Mm-hmm.
For the long run.
Doesn't I feel like by not being engaged in that though, I genuinely feel sometimes like some people are doubtful about my participation in it. I guess I don't.
Well, that's just it. You don't have to look, man. I mean, you having comic skaters on this thing. I mean,
Right.
You're in it regardless. So you don't have to go out there. No one has to go out there and be abrasive or do anything. I mean, one thing is providing platforms and letting people have time to speak freely about whatever it is on their mind. That's part of Comicsgate. That's what even someone like Englentine is doing with his channel. People come on there, they talk about whatever. I mean, that's Comicsgate. Creating comics, that's Comicsgate. Not shying away from people like Ethan, myself. I mean, that's part of Comicsgate too, or Richard. You don't have to come out with blood on you, man. But if you were trying to sell a book, but then you're also like, Elliot puts, a link out for everyone to hop in. Hey guys, come on in here, have a good time. Let's go chit chat comics, whatever. If you were doing none of these things and if you were completely separated from this community, then I could see how people could form some kind of an opinion. that was saying, oh, well, Elliot's just really kind of in it for himself, or, you know, just, you know, out to get whatever. But I mean, you're in it. You may not be, you know, throwing bombs to the other side, but you're here 100%. You've already put your career on the line by, you know, having someone like me or Antonio, and well, maybe to a lesser extent, Andrew on here. So, Nasser.
Yeah,
it's done when you're with Nasser. It's done, dude.
Yeah, it's game over. You know what though? I think also part of it too is for me. This, you know, I'm 45 years old, and I've been around the mountain a few times. I've been the victim, and I've been the aggressor on multiple occasions in any kind of debate, whether it be politics or anything else. I typically have those kinds of conversations in private because I think if that has to happen, there's so many. I've learned along the way that I don't know everything, you know, and so I don't like to engage in something. You know what it is too? Is like I had a mentor who used to tell me, well, what I would do. There was a time when I'd be like, you know, where I used to work years ago, I would go to bat for some of these guys who perhaps were seemingly getting, you know, missed or looked over for opportunities in the work, right? So I would say, hey man, I'd go, because I had a good relationship with our boss, who was the mentor that I was referring to. But before he was my mentor, this is when he was management. And I go to bat, and every time I go there, I was about to curse. Every freaking time I go there, they would it was like, yeah, I got your back, way back, like back here. And I'd go to bat for them. And then as soon as someone say, hey, did you have a problem? Did you want to work this out here? No, man, I'm good. I'm like, you're good, but I just got your back on those things. And so I learned over the years that I need to be, first of all, I'm not everyone's avenger for one.
Right.
And that's why I appreciate what you do, John, and I really appreciate Ethan, because I think that's really what however you look at what he does and how he does it, blah, 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 whatever gossip you choose to believe, talking to anybody else out there, you know, for things about this kind of stuff, you know, that's on you. But my experience with him is that he's been a sharp dude with me. Right. So I'm like, all right, cool. And it's clearly his channel. It's clearly his thing. So all that stuff, I was always kind of like, what the hell is everybody talking about? So then take that further. The other thing is, I've also learned not to engage in conversation that I'm not fully aware of the information for. I just don't know everything that's going on. I don't even know. I still not even sure. I can never tell Remphamis from Mags, or what is the other one? Visaggio.
Yeah.
Like I always get them mixed up because I just don't know really what's going on, and I feel like, am I supposed to know this? Is this part of the club membership? I don't remember. You know, it wasn't in the first SOP. I need to get that SOP. Can we get that SOP out now? So, you know, that's the kind of thing that. But to your point, I prefer to just when the time comes, and I'm like, hey, wait a second, John Malin. I know John Malin enough. You know, like I told you earlier, John, we're not best buds or anything like that, but from our interactions here, you're a stand-up guy, man, and you're so open about your opinions. Even if I didn't agree with you, I can still say, well, yeah, but I understand where he's coming from, or you can just talk to him yourself. I could always defend you in that way. And if we were friends, you know, Critias and I have become good friends, you know, and I'm good friends with Antonio Bryce, but you know, then I could say I would definitely go to bat if I thought something was going on. But if something's going wrong, I'm like, yo, man, look, the first thing I'm gonna do is pull you to the side privately, and I certainly wouldn't do that nonsense on Twitter. That's stupid to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm already kind of frustrated with the Twitter culture. I always have been, because I just don't understand why people would share so much of their personal information out in the open like that. But I come from a different time, a different group. Man. I'm big on privacy. I don't share, you know, a lot of stuff. I barely like to, you know, there's a lot of stuff I don't talk about just because it's just a personal ethic for me.
I get what you're coming from, though. You know, about batting for your friends.
Yeah,
you
know, I always back my friends. I just get frustrated. My friends are like, "Hey, where you at?"
Yeah, yeah, they go somewhere else. Yep.
You wouldn't do that to me, John, would you?
I wouldn't do what?
Wait a second. I think I said the wrong things here.
Well, I missed that last thing you said. All I heard was "would you, John" or something like that. What did you say?
No,
Would you
I
play
said
catch?
you would leave me out in the cold like that, would you, John?
Oh no, not at all.
Okay.
That's not what he asked, John. He asked if you would play catch with him.
No, I don't have. Look, man. I think I'm a reasonable person for the most part. Everybody loses their cool. Everybody has bad days and says stupid shit. But I'm gonna give people opportunities and chances, and I think same with Elliot. I think Elliot's a stand-up guy. If somebody was talking smack about Elliot, I'd be like, well, first, prove it, and then I'd probably have a talk with Elliot and see where his head was at that time, and
Right.
try to come to an understanding about whatever it could have been. But I'm gonna have his back.
Yep.
Same with Antonio and Andrew. I mean,
Yeah,
all
I
comic
you guys back
skaters.
for real.
I think I have a pretty good beat on your guys' attitudes. How you conduct yourself publicly.
Right.
Chill. Chill dudes. So
Yeah, I'd like to take it easy.
Yeah, I bite my tongue a lot, but
yeah,
I have to keep it professional.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Well, there's a lot of stuff I don't know what's going on even in the news, man. I've been so isolated in this my garage studio. I don't know anything that's going on half the time. And then these days, I'm also guilty of falling for the postmodern twist of things where I just don't know what to believe anymore. So a lot of times, especially when people are so weird on social media about what they share, and then you come to find out that oh, there was a screen grab. First of all, that's so stupid. I hate that nonsense. But you can't ignore it when it's a legitimate presentation of a fact.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, to your point, John, you don't know what was happening that day. You don't know the context. This context is also lost in this culture because everything is text.
I've made a rule to I can't believe screen caps or pictures on the internet. I just can't believe it. I'm not going to believe nothing. I'll have to do my research, but it could be photoshopped.
Oh, that's dude. True. I mean, Yellow Flash. I don't know if you guys were in the one of the old Comics Gate chats before, but he was just goofing off, and he took something I said, and I mean, he turned it around in minutes just to show me how quick he could fake something. And yeah, it looked like I was having a conversation that I wasn't having, and it took just minutes for him to do it. And I was like, wow, I mean, it had the blue box and the white lettering or whatever that shit is. And I was just like, man, that's crazy, because he did it effortlessly. So,
yeah, and we have to remember too, the other side, or not even the other side, just people who have too much time on their hands on Twitter, who maybe are causing drama or knee deep in drama. They're showing me screen caps of what was said or whatever. I'm like, dude, I don't know what this is. So sorry, I'm not in it. I'm out. Because they're on this stuff all day. I don't know what they're doing. They could be easily making fake photos or, just causing. It's like some of it's causing drama just to split Comics Gate up to make people go over here, say this. It's weird. It's some crazy manipulation thing.
Yeah. Well, it's like, even when, Ethan had that tweet, which, I think he talked about it as recently as yesterday, just something, where somebody was going back and forth with them for, I don't know, a period of time. And eventually he was just like, kill yourself. And it's like, yeah, it's definitely not something that's, you're going to want to say. And I don't really think Ethan is someone that, that's, his go-to move. I mean, that's someone who is upset, aggravated by, the situations that he's being put into. I think by his own account, over and over again. And look, he can have a bad day. I'm sure he's not proud of it. But he said it, and that's that. And everyone's going to have a bad day here or there, and everything has to be weighed. And that's all sides. People do say jerky things every now and then.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that really sucks about social media is it takes out so many things that make speech more acceptable. Like it takes out the context, it takes out how you say something. It takes out so much, your facial expression, your body language. So you just have these words, and if you just put them next to my name, like he's a dude's a jerk or whatever, but you didn't hear me say it.
Jerkmonger.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, right? Like everybody can read the same sentence, but each person reads it differently.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I think that's why it's such it's so pervasive on Twitter, because Twitter started out, I think, the wrong way. It may have been more. It may have seemed more. I get to just only use so many characters, but that actually hurts communication. Now, granted, maybe I'm too verbose. Maybe I talk too much or whatever. I've been accused of that a lot by my wife. Ask my wife; she'll tell you. But the reality is, I'm going to sharpen my pencil, guys. Excuse the noise. The reality is, when you don't have a context or more of a hey, this is where I'm coming from. That's one of the reasons why I think it doesn't exist on Twitter. I'm sorry, on Instagram as much, because Instagram it's so much about just images, and the images speak for themselves, and they're usually pretty neutral. Most people that like there's people I know on Instagram that are typically some of the people that are angry at each other on Twitter, but they're all following each other on Instagram because the art speaks for itself. Now, I'm not one of those guys that's like, no, only art because only the art's beautiful. Like, no, I get it. I mean, I think it's cool for us to be able to express ourselves politically or about religion or any of those things that could be controversial. I think that's important for any society to thrive. But I also think that when you limit the way to communicate that information, some of these concepts are so deep, man. I mean, I heard this radio show the other day where they were talking about these guys. This guy was doing this thing where he's having people on opposite sides, this part of like a study or some kind of program he's doing, and he's having them talk to each other, people that would normally be on opposite sides of any conversation, and just not going into politics right away, but just talking about their life story and their history. And before you know it, you're learning about that person saying, hey, this guy really went through a whole lot. No wonder he thinks that way, or maybe that's why he feels that strongly about this position. And before you know it, they could literally just walk away, not necessarily agreeing with each other, but not wanting to kill each other either. And then now you have that kind of BS going on some platforms like Twitter, where people are, it's so easy to just say, oh, go suck of this and go F of that and eat a bag of this and whatever. And next thing you know, you're like, no, what did we just say? Did we actually have a conversation, or are we just yelling at each other? Because that's what's going on. There's no real dialogue. It's just a bunch of anger and real hate speech, actually, in my opinion. That's what hate speech looks like to me.
It's a lot of, I mean, what you're describing is, just like, hey, if you have problems with somebody, go put them on a desert, the two people on a desert island, give them a week, they're going to come out of there, best friends, and, because they're going to have that better understanding of, who's who, what's what. And yeah, there's a large disconnect on the internet, and a freedom to be as abrasive as you want to be, more abrasive than you would be in public. But that's also the same as, with any kind of entertainment thing. The internet just gave that power to everyone. Radio would have been a good example of the same thing. You can be abrasive on the radio, and you have that disconnect between you and your audience because they're out, 100 miles away driving in their car, and you're in a studio. It's not much different than some kind of shock jock type stuff.
But it's one thing when you have one shock jock. It's a whole other thing when everybody's their own shock jock. And so there's no honest communication. We're all just trying to be shocking to each other. That's crazy.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean that comes down to who's willing to have the conversations. So even Comicsgate, Ethan's invited people to come onto his stream and say, "Hey, let's go have conversation." And he did have Mark Waid on there at a time. I think he had Dan Slott on there at a time, but nobody's coming on there. Mags isn't going to come on there. Ren, whatever, is not going to come on there. And these are some of the larger public critics. And you think they would jump at an opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation, because if they're right, they would be able to humiliate, presumably, this is how they should be thinking, that they would be able to come onto Ethan's show or anyone's show and completely humiliate them in front of their own audience. And what could be sweeter? But these don't happen, because I think what happens is they're going to get on here. They're going to start having a conversation with someone like Ethan. And at some point, they're just going to have to admit that they're LARPing. That Ethan is not actually a Nazi. They're going to have to be fully confronted that if Comicsgate is a racist, misogynist organization, then why are there people of color and why are there women in it? Yeah,
no kidding.
Because we're shields, John.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's no answer. There's no answer that Ren or Mags or anyone could give, other than to dehumanize people within this community.
It's funny you say that, because if there wasn't a John Malin and an Ethan and any other Caucasian person, by the way, I'm considered Caucasian anymore these days anyway, but if there wasn't, I would still be connecting with people that thought this way, and it would still include those people groups that we've been talking about. And that's what's hurtful about those comments to me. I don't get hurt, but I mean, like, if I had a thinner skin, I'd be crying just like they cry sometimes. I'd be like, what the hell? I'm not a human being. What is wrong with you? It's shameful, but the reality is, we all of us, I don't know, maybe not all of us, but by and large, the vast majority of us are against foolishness and racism, and against. Now maybe, but I think some of the problem, I think, has also been that the markers have shifted on what was considered racist then versus now, and the conversations we have or not. I think some people would say that, well, we've always been racist. Well, maybe that's true, but then that's a conversation to have, not a yelling match, and not a T-shirt where you say punch Nazis. Because I'm certainly not a Nazi by any stretch. That garbage pisses me off.
Yeah, conversations are always welcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're living in a really great time. I mean, outside of this nuttiness, my point of view is people are bored, and they're spoiled, and they're bored.
I think they're so bored that they have to create drama.
Well, they have to create enemies. They've turned regular, normal, everyday people into what they actually have the gall to say is a Nazi or a white supremacist. And it's like, no, most of these people that they call that are very simply, they're just political enemies. So, I mean, Ethan is a Republican. He's straight up Republican. And who was it? Tim Boyle? Like, that guy even said, like, proof of that Ethan is all these bad things was he voted for Trump. And it's like, that's it. That's your big proof. It couldn't have been, any kind of view on economy or what somebody with that attitude could do in terms of a leadership role. It just had to be that if you voted for him, you just have to be a racist, like, period. And it's like, okay, well, what about people of color that voted for him? Do you think every, do you think every Mexican in this country is crossing the border, or do we have doctors and lawyers? Are there Hispanic people working in high-profile positions within this country that might even be Republicans?
That's right.
And and again, we're not everybody in Comicsgate is conservative, or a huge Trump supporter, or Hillary supporter. It's diverse. It is what they want. It is diverse. It's racially, sexually, and politically diverse. That's why I think we really are the normal people, because we all have tolerance for people who do think differently. But we all have this agreement that, you know, we're going to do our best to all work together, despite any differences that we might have, and have you know, a good community of fans.
Yeah, that's the thing about when we talk about comics in the '90s, and that's the stuff that I miss, is that it was a different time when you can, in those days when you could disagree, agree to disagree. That was a common phrase. Everybody said it all the time. Today, you're hard pressed to find that. Hard pressed.
Well, yeah, I mean, what the classical liberal stance was, I may not agree with what you say, but I'll fight to the death for your right to say it. And now, you know, the liberal stance has been swirling into anything you say that I don't agree with is hate speech.
Yeah, it's nuts.
And that's dangerous. It's dangerous because right now they're seeing it how it's going to benefit them. You know, for an example, that Twitter ruling with the transgender thing, you know, oh, well, you can't say anything dead naming. Okay, well, you know, what happens when all this stuff is put back on you, and you're either going to have to expose yourself, your company, as being hypocritical, or being completely politically biased. So if you can't dead name somebody, which is just naming someone with their birth name, if you can't say this, if you can't call a man and a woman a woman, without this being some level of hate speech, then, I mean, you're opening a big can of worms for what this society can start to dictate with speech. And that's scary. People should really be pretty terrified about how far this stuff is getting. And, you know, I was in a conversation and, you know, one person said, well, all you got to do is turn off the internet. And I'm like, no, because it's seeping in. It's coming into your movies. It's coming into your TV shows. It's your daily talk shows. Like these messages are building. So, you know, from my point of view, there is a threat and it's worth being called out. So, not because it's taking a dump on someone on trans. Look, if you want to be trans, more power to you. You know, I wish the best for you. But I don't want you to tell me how I have to address you. I don't want me addressing you in a factual way to be deemed as hate speech. You know, just like I was saying the other night, look, if someone's fat, okay, Elliot and I are probably not in the best of shape. But if we're about to get in a scrap with somebody or somebody's talking mad shit, look, they might call us fat. Like, what'd you say, fat boy? You know, look, I mean, that's not hate speech. That's someone trying to get in your head and start to break you down mentally. You know, that's that mental punch. And, you know, but we're big boys. We're going to take it. We're going to say, yeah. We like those tacos. And, you know, and then we're going to go.
Like, you can't stop freedom of speech. Like, you know, people are allowed to say anything, but the consequences, that's a whole nother story. That's, you know, that's what's going to happen. But if people are going to say something, they're allowed to.
Yeah.
But there's always consequences.
Well, they are allowed to, but look, again, like what's going on with Twitter. So now there are these things that are starting to be encroached on where you can't call someone what they factually are. So Twitter, you know, is its own thing. So obviously they don't have to follow these free speech things. But look at people who are hopping into office. These are going to be the same people that are going to try doing with the United States, with like what has been going on with Canada. The Rosario, what's her name, Cortez or whatever that was from New York. So, you know, these are social justice warriors that are now trying to get into government. And you better believe it. When they get, if they get in there and they get what they want, I mean, they're going to try changing a lot of rules, and it's going to be everything that benefits this SJW type ideology. And it's not going to end pretty.
Hey, John, it might be your best future, though, because I've always said that if things keep going the way they're going, it's going to be like Demolition Man.
Yeah, I think it is. I think I'm going to be living in the sewer eating rat.
No,
So-
Taco Bell, remember?
No, because that's everybody that goes along to get along.
Oh,
Everyone else lives in the sewer. If you want to be able to have freedom, if you want to be able to
remember how Taco Bell became like the #1 restaurant?
Yeah. I'll still come up and I'll eat some Taco Bell. But we're going to be down there. All of us, we're all going to be down there with Dennis Leary. So
Oh yeah, as long as it tastes good, I don't care, man. Shoot, I'll eat it.
Yeah, I'll eat a rat burger.
To your point, if they're willing, we're gonna look back at these days when they ruined Spider-Man or Iceman, and we're gonna say, remember when it was just that. That if they're willing to go that far with simple things like this, you know that the greater goal is to get into government and to legislate those kinds of ideals from the legislative branch.
Yeah.
All they need is a president who will agree with that and then sign it off. Fortunately, up to this point, everything that has been that crazy was all executive order and not constitutional as a law. But that's still only who's fighting that. That nothing changed with what Obama instituted through executive order, and there's a lot of stuff that can change. It just changes from president to president. So really, does it ever change? So just imagine something like that happens and all those ideas get written in, and it's going to take another party shift just to shift it back. Or what if it never happens?
Well, change definitely does happen. So, the civil rights movement, that was a dramatic cultural change that definitely happened. It's one I agree with, because that's when I say that was real persecution and real unfair practices going on against people, segregation. So yeah, these things do change, but and that's an example of changing for the better. But it's that same power of motivating enough people that you can start making dramatic change in the government very quickly. And when you have an ideology that spreads, so you don't have to be a person of color to get into this SJW ideology, because on the surface it sounds great. Hey, we're all fighting for equality. But when you dig deeper, it starts getting a little darker. But you get enough people who are just ready to jump on because it sounds on the surface like really good idea. I think it could all change very quickly.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want world peace? Who doesn't want equality? By their own definition, I think everyone wants everyone to be doing well and not being in a position of starvation or where one race is always playing catch up to another. I mean, a utopian point of view. But it's how do you get there? And it's very dangerous when you try to do these huge cultural shifts on a dime, and that's what I think the SJWs are going to do. Even that Rosario girl, that's one of the things they said is like right away she hasn't gone after Republicans, she's going after her own Democrats, and she's trying to get more SJWs in there, or more progressives. Because no matter how whatever, she's won. She wants to get more and more.
Is that the young pretty girl?
The Hispanic looking chick from New York.
Okay. I haven't really looked much into her.
Yeah. So, but
well, she's the one
I'm like Elliot. I'm trying to keep all this stuff away from me, but it keeps seeping in. And but yeah, she doesn't seem like she's the brightest bulb in the box. So when she's going after Democrats, which ideally you get into a seat of government, you do what you have to do for X amount, your first term, whatever, and you work your way up. No, she's trying to get more SJWs in there, and she wants. I think she's already attacked. Was it Pelosi? So yeah, look, they're not waiting, man. They're going to go after it.
Yeah, they're savage in that way. They're hungry. They know that the fire is hot now. They have to strike. This is the hottest time.
Yeah.
No, and then that's what we're going to deal with. And and then we won't have the opportunity for civil debate because it'll all be monopolized by fear. And that's of course the big concern that I have.
But yeah,
Godspeed,
the one of the big things to be concerned about with all this SJW identity politics is, you know, just like segregation. I mean, these are people that are making determinations on the way people should be living directly because of the color of their skin or what they believe. I mean, that's every bit as evil as it's segregation, just under a different name.
Yeah.
It's racism, just under a different name. It's like a Trojan horse.
Yeah.
And everyone pretends, everyone that supports this far left stuff, they all pretend that they don't see it. But I think they do see it. I think they've just justified it away. And, you know, because I think their mission, or what they believe their mission to be, you know, destroy white patriarchy, is more important than anything. And if they have to use a little bit of good old fashioned racism to make it happen, yeah, they might. You know, these freaky white chicks think they're going to be the queens. So,
well, it's a good thing they're a minority, a real small minority.
Who? The
SJWs?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, but look, again, I mean, all you have to do is win elections. It's just like Marvel, you know, like that's why it's easier for a company like Marvel to be taken over versus a large Hollywood system. So, you know, Hollywood is, you know, hundreds and thousands of people, but you can take over Marvel with 10 well-placed people.
Yeah.
So when you're in government, yeah, there's definitely, you know, 330 million people in the United States, but you only need, you know, hundreds to change the entire course of government.
And that's what they've effectively done. Like you just mentioned, Marvel. That's what they've effectively done at Marvel. And that's what I said earlier. You're going to see it. It's going to shift, and people are they're going to use terminology that sounds good. You know, oh yeah, you're right. You know, we want equality. Yeah, that sounds really. Everybody wants equality. I wanted equality. And then as it continues to roll out, they'll start to see just like what I mentioned earlier. When a couple of years ago, when the progressive movement got really hard and ugly, there was this thing called the Summer of Rage, and they were going to all these universities over the summer and inciting riots and all kinds of demonstrations. Right, and for the first time, I heard people talking about the Brown brothers. Right, I'm gonna get a little controversial here, you guys in the chat. They call this the Brown brothers, right? But obviously they were trying to galvanize the Mexican culture out in the West and Southwest. But then
West Side.
There you go. But then what happened was, as soon as that was over, as soon as they weren't getting enough traction on that, then it turned right back to what it always was, which was, oh well, now I was brown at the time, but now I'm just white because I'm not black, or I'm not this race or that race. I'm like, what's going on here? But I was never for that in the first place. I got ants. I got sugar ants. But now and this is what's happened. This is my experience in the military. This is my experience throughout most of my career. Every time I get around some people, I'm too white for one group, I'm too black for another group, I'm too Latino for this, I speak with a Mexican accent when I speak Spanish. I have too many Cuban friends. It just doesn't end. It just doesn't end. It's because they're looking for ways to keep us separate. They want us to stay divided and to not have those common ground. That's what was to me, which is my favorite thing about being an American, is that I have an opportunity to have this common commonality with anyone, that I even serve my country with these guys, different people from different cultures, different creeds and races. Mm-hmm. Why would I change that now? But that's what they're trying to do even there. And we don't even, in the military, don't even talk like that anymore. There's still a lot of weird opportunities to keep people separate. It's just odd. It's just odd to me. Like I said, I'm older, so I didn't grow up in this culture. I fear for my son, because I don't know that he has enough information, because they have them sedated with YouTube, ironically.
Right. Yeah.
You know, with because this, for every logical reasonable conversation like we're having here. Again, even if we don't always agree on anything and everything, at least we're being civil and we're talking and we're just enjoying each other's company and just celebrating the differences in this way. But there's another channel that's willing to put down all the nonsense and just say, and like I said, it usually happens though, in my opinion, on Twitter. That's where I think it happens too often. But
yeah,
that was my 2 cents. Every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in. Like Al Pacino.
Yeah, so like, all right, so look at the border stuff, and people are like, well, what do you do? What would you do, Elliot, to resolve all these people that want to come to the United States?
To be honest, from that perspective, I don't think it's not as simple as one thing to do. The problem is that you have a group of people who feel disenfranchised around the world, in Central and South America. The problem is I believe those people are being used by other groups to promote this other idea and agenda that has nothing to do with them. When I hear about the different things that I did hear, how different groups were being bussed and moved around, like, all I could think of was like, this sounds like shenanigans. We can't just from being a dad and having a budget, whatever you could call a budget in my house, we can't sustain with our current track and the way we are in debt, a bunch of people coming in that way. As much as people think this is, a utopian society as it is, it's clearly not. And we can't even agree on, on even if you look at how things are determined, how we get things put into law, the pork that gets put involved in the extra earmarks they put into laws just to try to get things passed is never sincere. So how can we trust that we're going to be able to sustain a budget that's going to handle that kind of influx of that many people? It just doesn't make any sense. So what would I do? I think you have to protect the border to some degree. You have to, in my opinion, you have to have some sort of reasonable way to bring people in, as long as it's sincere. And we're saying, hey, you follow the track that other immigrants have followed in the past to come to this country. Where it gets ugly is where it's clearly what's happening with some families that are divided. That's a big challenge. And I don't know what to do from there because I don't have all the data on what the cost is and that sort of thing. But it still doesn't seem like we have to break up families. But again, if that's the tool, the problem is that people are using that as a weapon against our system. You can't flood the gates, if you will, the way they're doing that. I can totally understand why people see that as an invasion. You couldn't do it you couldn't do it in Europe. You couldn't do it going to Germany that way. It doesn't work that way in other countries because they have a more reasonable system, despite the fact that they tend to be in disagreement with our system. Yeah, that is just my thoughts. And again, it's a limited information. So I'm sure if anyone has a way to dispute that, I'd be happy to hear it.
What about you, Andrew?
About the border?
Yeah. If you had all the power, what would be your plan to resolve it?
For me, the one that makes the most sense is, if I don't know how bad. I mean, it's bad enough to where people have to leave. So I'm just gonna let's just do a hypothetical and say, I know it isn't, but let's just say Mexico. Everything south of the border is really bad. Let's just say that, right? We have to help them. Invest in South America, Mexico, El Salvador, like all that crap, and or in a way team up with them so they can have a better economy, less gangs, less cartel, less corruption. Just help them so that way no one wants to or has to leave, because they don't want to leave.
Yeah,
they feel like they have to leave. Yeah. So if we kind of like fix their home, then they'll stay.
Yeah.
Will that work though? Or are those governments prepared to?
They're too corrupt right now. They're too corrupt.
Yeah, it's like Venezuela. Venezuela's jacked up.
Oh yeah, I'm not even talking about Venezuela.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying,
that one.
when the culture is that corrupt, not the culture, when the government and the officials are that corrupt, and that's the kind of stuff that happens in Puerto Rico. You know, it's not to the same extent. There's a lot of corruption in Puerto Rico, but no one acknowledges it because they've been hanging on to government assistance from the U.S. for so long that they don't need to. And so that's one of the reasons why it becomes a challenge when you start to hear people talk about this statehood in Puerto Rico. It's a larger conversation because there's a lot of corruption that has been influencing the opinions, and it's politics, but it's the ugly version of politics. It's necessary, but it's ugly because it's not being truthful. It's not the truth. That's not what's being shared. It's a challenge, though. You know, to your point, because I care about this. I have friends in Guatemala and friends in Honduras. I have a buddy, American friend in Costa Rica, and he tells me how beautiful it is over there, and how the culture's just different. But that's one of the better spots there in Costa Rica. But some of these other places, man, how do you?
Yeah. So my idea is along the lines of Andrew's. You know, it's education first. Make sure everybody is getting as best of an education as you can get them. You know, that's going to be money raised and people sent. I think all nations in North and South America, I think they have to come to agreement of a complete border lockdown. I think that people with good education, whatever, should be considered for citizenship. And if you have poor education and you want to come to the United States, I think one consideration, it's not the only, but I think one thing that should be considered is, you know, straight up, go serve in the military. Give 8 years. If you die, your kids, your wife will receive automatic citizenship. And if you make it through your 8 years, then you're golden. You're all Americans. That way, I think that a lot of people will feel that you've put it on the line for the nation. There can definitely be other ways for poor people to get in. I'm not saying that should not be that the only way to get in is to serve. But I think that's one way that you could convince people in the United States even, you know, say, hey, let's have an open door immigration policy through the military. So I think a lot more people would respect that in the United States. And if people are really desperate to get out of their situations, 8 years of service isn't that bad.
We'd have the biggest army.
Yeah, it'll be bigger.
We'd take over China.
There's already people who feel like the military is too big. They were all for the defunding of the military the way it was just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and well, we could even work it out with other nations where, you know, you could be taking, you know, whatever, just like we have, you know, the United Nations, whatever, and we start focusing on the Americas, and we get everybody's shit in order. If you know, to whatever extent it may be, you know, build up a union that starts making decisions on where, you know, countries may need to have military intervention because they can't get their shit together on behalf of the people. I know that's scary territory, but, you know, these are all things that should be developed in a functional way.
I think that's worth a look. I think that's worth a look. I mean, that seems to work. It works well for countries like Israel, when everybody seems they serve in the military. It also helps to create a sense of pride in where you come from. I know it did for me as a soldier, as prior military.
I kind of feel like everybody should serve.
Man,
because there's a lot of people that take all this for granted, dude, and they're like spoiled, and they never like went through any. They never just like earned anything. You know, they didn't go through any kind of struggle to build their character there's just a lot of like babies out there.
Yeah, I do agree in that. That I think that it wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, I don't know about forcing people, but
Like 2 years, 1 year. Korea, I think South Korea does it.
What I'm saying is put everybody through basic and AIT. I think you learn a lot about yourself going through that. You know, it's the it's the journey to manhood or womanhood. First time on your own and figuring out what you're really capable of as a human being. That's what I felt like when I went into basic, because I was like, how am I going to do all this? And I'm like, can I handle it? I don't know, because I've never really been tested. But just like any other culture where you have to go out in the wilderness for X amount of time. When you come back, you're a man. I think that at least enlisting, you could be in a reserve basis or something to where you don't have to go to something, like maybe like, I don't know, Israel. That's more a little bit forced though, right?
What do you mean? Israel's for it. Yeah, it's required of their culture.
And the girls are hot too, man. Jesus.
Whatever, dude. I'm sure you're gonna go there and find some dogs. But
they're hot. So, Wonder Woman came from there.
But yeah, so without it being forced, that's the only thing I'm concerned about. But if there's like an option on the table, to say, oh well, after my kids graduate, they can go do their 8 weeks in basic, 8 weeks in some kind of just basic kind of AIT general schooling, or 9 weeks, whatever. And then they come back and that's it. If they needed to be called up for service, they at least got that initial training out of the way. But otherwise, that's like that's your threshold that you need to cross is, becoming a functioning human being ready for adulthood now.
The problem with that though is now you sound like a toxic masculine man.
Well, no, because women would do it too.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm saying that's the other. I'm this is devil's advocate stuff because I like the idea, but I'm just saying that that's the part of the challenge that we have is any logical conversation gets turned into that's just because you're a dude and you're white, by the way.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it would be a voluntary thing. So if you're up for it, the government would pay for it. So
yeah, but see but the other part of that the argument I'm sure would be. But then you're coercing or you're putting people in bond because they want to be citizens. The only way they can do it is to do it this way. So now, well, what about this? What about the dream, the American dream? And that's where I think we lose so much because we've lost the basic undergirding concepts. It makes it even more challenging to just have normal conversations like that because I think that's very reasonable what you're suggesting. I like to see it happen. I think I know there's some people who don't belong in the military. Such as like you guys are ate up like a soup sandwich. But there are some people that they would certainly benefit, I think, to your point, and they'd at least have that kind of sense of mutual ownership of this whole thing. And I like your suggestion that it seems it would help promote a trustworthiness in the culture of those people who it's just like throughout our history we had that situation too where people got to participate in a different way in the American experience because of their service. It wasn't always effective or it wasn't always perfect, but it was a step towards that conversation.
Yeah. But I'm definitely not saying it's forced. I'm saying this is something, if you're a parent, that you could say, I would like my child when they turn 18 to go through the process of a basic training. And I mean, just like any kind of camp, except it's, definitely more hardcore. Learn how to fire M16 and throw some grenades, do a little killing.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. Nice job, John. You just ruined it.
Yeah,
that was gonna be all over Twitter. John Malin wants children to kill.
Comicsgate wants children to kill.
No, 18-year-old adults or 17-year-old. Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. I want little Billy to go out there.
What and be challenged. That's all it is. It's just being challenged. Put yourself to the test and learn that you're capable of more than you potentially thought you were. You know, because I mean, all through high school, I mean, that was just getting through, you know, and it wasn't like trying to be the best athlete or the best physically. But when you're in the Army, I mean, it changes around. It's a lot, or it's a little more primal, I think. It's good for the soul.
It was good for me. It was really good for me. And you know, I don't like to kind of wind back too much and say, oh, but that was just for me. I think it may have been, but there was a lot that I didn't know I could do until I did it. I told you the stories the other day about me on the Victory Tower and getting stuck on the wall that I couldn't do the rope. What do you call that? The rappelling. And you know, I did it. And if I had never gone to that, if I never gone involved, I remember the first day I'm on the bus to MEPS, and I'm looking at all these guys, and we all look pathetic, you know. It's early in the morning and before dawn, and we're all moving out. Like I should be sleeping right now, but I'm over here. But it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. Absolutely. Yeah, my niece is just talking about moving to Colorado. She's cracking me up because I'm like, you know, I just want to try something different. And I almost suggested, I'm sure my sister would have killed me with her death beam eyes. But I was like, you should try the military, give it a spin. It helps too, because if you actually enlist, then that's your job for a while until you figure out what you want to do with the rest of your life. It's not a bad thing at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and like straight up enlisting, like going in the military, yeah, that's a fine choice. I just don't think a lot of people do it because they don't do it now, you know. Yeah. But if you're in and out in whatever 18, 16, whatever that is, 18 weeks, you know, I think more people would be prone to do it.
Why do you think it's hard to get people to enlist in the military today?
Because it's a long commitment. It's years of your life. I think a lot of these kids, they haven't left home. They haven't had any real experiences, and they may never leave home until they're, you know, 25, 26.
I think culturally, like if, again, I'm not forced or not, whatever the better method would be, but like culturally, if it was traditionally, like, you know, let's say you're 16 and you have to do this 2 years of service, like no one would question it anymore. No one would really be against it. It's like, it's traditional. Like it's part of the culture. Like everyone does it.
Yeah, I think it's more pushing the bird out of the nest, though, in terms of, like, again, I think if you put that 2-year time limit on it and make it all forced, you know, people are going to resent it more. Like this is the government intruding. But if it's something that you volunteer for when you turn, you know, 18 or 19, whenever it is you decide you would like to do this, you know, you go in, you go out. After 18 weeks, you're done with it. But what you learn in that time is you finally separated yourself from your parents. Yeah. And I think that's really important, especially nowadays, because, like I said, everyone's living at home well into their 20s.
Yeah, it's getting expensive.
I also think that there's not as much of an importance on education, because a lot of people went in when I went in for college, and doesn't seem to be the draw that it used to be. I think someone posted in the chat earlier that you have to serve 4 years to get your GI Bill now. So that's less incentive. It's even harder to get to that point for you to go to college, if you even want to go to college. And now it's like, oh, I'll just stay home. I'll just play Call of Duty.
I think everybody after high school should take a break from college, or like don't go to college right after high school. Kind of like find yourself, travel, do some stuff, because I know a lot of people who go to community colleges or colleges in general, and they're there for years because they don't know what they're doing or what they want.
Yeah. Well, if people could afford it, for sure. I couldn't. I mean, it was like pretty much school, military, work.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you can afford to get out and see the world, you know, that's a good thing too, you know, without being a part of a military force,
And you don't even need too much money. You just gotta like basically live life, you know, like go through some stuff, move in with some roommates, and just learn.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying with the military thing. You know, detaching from your umbilical cord and that security blanket, which is your family, and the military giving you a new kind of outlook. In case your parents raised you wrong, the military is going to straighten you up at least a bit. I mean, they're pretty good at, like, hey, make your bed. So, but teaching you discipline. So if your parents never taught you discipline, and you
brush
put
your
military,
teeth,
maybe with a little guidance, you might be encouraged to be a better human being at the end of your 18 weeks. Hey, I make my bed now. Hey, brush my teeth. Hey, I shave. I don't know, whatever.
I got a 6-pack. Woohoo.
Yeah.
Tommy Sarkinen here. He says, we have military service for every male in Finland. There is some talk about limiting it at times, but most boys do 6 months to a year. That's interesting. Matthew Gervais says 4 years to get what the GI Bill is now is so worth it. The bill is crazy good. Yeah, I wasted mine. I didn't use it all. I mean, I literally wasted it. I used some of it for commercial art school, and then I didn't go back and do anything else with it. So I wasted about $10,000. I was like, what a moron. And just a jerk off for you. I don't know. We're solving the world's problems one brushstroke at a time. Love it.
But even problems here in the States, it's like the schools suck. School shootings suck. There's a lot of things that can be dealt with. I think one of the big things with even the shootings is, and everybody agrees that, to a large extent, it's about the attention that people get. And, so it's like, well, what do you do? And my point is, well, why don't you just decentralize the schools, and get rid of that big bloody mess that is going to be plastered all over the news. Be that through online education for the people that are, intelligent enough and doing well enough that you can send them home and let them do their school via webcam. So no one, for the most part, no one is going to be trying to do a mass shooting in your home. I'm sure there could be an exception, but you de-incentivize that by decentralizing schools.
I love that idea. Yeah. It's hard because a lot of the people put emphasis on the social aspect of school.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you can still have like, some private schools going on. Why not? So if a student is worth, I don't know, what are 20 grand a year, 10 grand a year, I don't know, whatever it is. Yeah. So if you're a teacher, then you should open up your own private schooling, be it in a commercial building or your home, whatever the case may be. And if you're a really good one, then, hey, you get, I don't know, 10, 15 students, 20 grand a pop. You're going to be doing okay. So now you can, one, you can afford the rent for your building. And two, you might even be able to afford a security person if you feel that you would like to have one. But you're decentralized, you're smaller, you're a group of 15 kids in a city jungle, more or less. So if something did happen, God forbid, but if something did happen, then, thankfully it's minimized to, potentially 15 people. And if you have a security guard there, then look, that's taken care of too.
Why do you hate poor people?
Yeah. Or transgender's bathroom, right? So, the big argument that was going on with that. Like, look, you can solve this whole argument. All you have to do is you just, you take some time, you invest money, and you just stop doing the communal bathrooms. Like, I got solutions for everything, guys. Just take all the bathrooms unisex. That's it. I don't like shitting with other dudes. So I don't, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna cry that I have to use a unisex bathroom.
Well, you
So-
may, because women's bathrooms are the most disgusting.
Yeah, but look. So we go to Walmart, right? And so you take the bathroom areas and you make 10 different bathrooms. So like now, instead of going into the communal bathrooms, you have 10 doors on a wall. So you open up the door, you see how it looks, whatever. If it looks like shit, you get a hold of whoever's in charge of cleaning the bathroom. They're going to have to clean it anyways. Right?
Right.
Yeah. So they're going to come in there, make sure the bathrooms look okay, and then you do your business. It doesn't matter if a guy was in there or a girl was in there before you.
What if you gotta really go bad and you can't wait?
Oh, well, that's the problem you always have to deal with, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you run at the front of the store.
Mailing for mayor right now.
I'm just saying. I think people like butting their heads more than they like trying to find like just kind of reasonable solutions to things.
I think that's only true with the people who don't have anything going on in their life.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I mean, like I said, people are bored.
Like I feel like the most angriest people are on social media, the ones that have, like the SJWs or whoever else. Just even like, I'll even use MMA people for example. Like there's a lot of keyboard warriors, that act like they're tough when a fighter loses. They talk so much ish. And the ones that train, the ones that actually do jujitsu, that do the fighting, they're like the most nicest people. So it's like, it's weird. Like the ones that don't do anything are so angry and causing drama, and the people that actually go outside, get hurt, go through the struggles, learn about, like, if they get humbled, they don't have that anger. They don't have that nastiness in them,
For the most part, yeah.
Most of them, yeah.
That's because they're exercising all that aggression on the mat. Not honestly behind a keyboard.
Yeah.
Well, they've been tested. They know what they can take. They know what they can do.
And they know that conflict.
That builds character.
Yeah, and they know that violence and physical, contact and all that stuff, it's not fun. It can be, but you know what I mean, in a safe setting. But like real violence is not fun.
No, nobody wants to get punched in the mouth ever. Nobody says, "Please punch me in the mouth." That's good times. Andrew, what do you think about this so far, man?
About what?
About this artwork that I'm trying to pull off here.
Dude, I'm digging it, man. I've always loved Cowboy Spawn. I wish she was more popular, to be honest.
Yeah, this is one of my
Todd McFarlane needs to hire you. That's what I think.
Say what?
Todd McFarlane needs to hire you.
I'll be all right.
That's what I think.
Well, I mean, it was a good job, I guess. I take it. I'm not that interested in that these days.
You still are you going to work on any comic stuff, Elliot?
I want to. I'm just trying to. Right now, I got the bills to pay, and I got to figure. I don't think that the comic that I want to produce is gonna. I don't think I can release it right now. It's a campaign. I don't think it'll do as well. So I want to wait a little while, probably like around March sometime to launch that campaign.
Oh yeah, you definitely. I wouldn't recommend launching anything right now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Dead zone right now.
So yeah, because it's getting hard now. I'm sure people are doing what they got to do, and they're getting caught up. I mean, it was hard enough to get on YouTube during the holidays, much less say, "Oh, I'm going to support that." Oh wait a minute, I got to buy those presents too. Oh wait a minute, I got to do this. So anyway, I figured I'd wait till then, and so in the meantime, I just got to pay some bills. So I'm in squirrel away your acorns mode as much as possible now.
But that's good. So you are going to launch a campaign still, though, right? Just it's going to be
I want to. Yeah, I want to for sure. I wanted to do it sooner. I was going to do it in this month in November, But I kept adjusting the story, and I kept fidgeting with it. And I said, you know what, this needs to bake a little more before I bring it to the
right.
and then go from there. So I'm trying to pick up some work here and there. Right now it's commissions, and we'll see what goes on from there. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Hey, what's going on with anybody hear about backstab anymore?
Oh, no, I haven't heard much about it. I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, last I heard, Cecil was going to work on Rainbow Brute.
Rainbow Brute.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe Cecil's just going to let it rest. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a tough situation, man. It's a yeah, I don't know. It's so weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked him. So, but I'm not gonna get up in those guys' business and be like, "Hey, man, give me the scoop," So,
yeah.
But Tim and I get along just fine. So, I'm hopeful that whatever ordeal is going on with those guys, that I don't know if they can resolve or just come to peace with whatever's going on. But yeah, I mean, from the outside looking in, it doesn't look the best for how Cecil was done. And
it's a good thing Cecil is like, I feel like he is the main between him and Nurkish. I felt like he was the main side, I guess. Like, if you lose, like, whatever Cecil does, I think it's going to be great.
Yeah. If they let cash grab and backstab just disappear, I'm not going to have any problems with that. So I do want to see something from Cecil come out, though. So I really don't care what form it is, be it Rainbow Brood or just something completely different.
Yeah, he's going to be he's talented, so.
Yeah, he's a funny dude.
Touch.
Like a legit funny guy, man.
And some of the stuff he says is like on the spot. You know what I mean? Like he's improvising. So that's even harder because a lot of these funny people, these writers, and just in general in entertainment, they can't do that. They have to sit it down, write,
Yeah. Yeah, I can't do that. That improving and, that quick wit. Him and Ethan both have really like almost encyclopedic knowledge on things. Like, you can just tell they see something, it sticks, like it's locked in there. I got to watch a movie 10 times, to really figure everything out. And, if I haven't seen a movie in, X amount of years, I mean, it's fading away. So I don't have that, that photographic memory. Or not even photographic memory, but I mean, I got freaking quantum leap Swiss cheese memory. So,
yeah, my memory's bad. Like I'm not even doing a lot of streaming, right? Like I'm on here, I was on yours, but now it's starting to all blend together.
Yeah. Did you guys read this note from Critias in the chat?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna read it out loud for everyone. I think it's funny.
Right here. Critias is right in the room, right with us.
No, it's not.
Yeah. He's
No,
on my screen.
Haven't you read? You didn't read the note in the chat.
Read the note.
Lord. What happened?
Here, I'll read the note. This was a while ago. This was an hour ago. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, an hour ago. Critias, bro. Be right back. Don't want to interrupt the convo. I'm going to head to the store to get my kid diapers. If you're still on, cool. If not, screw you guys. Just kidding. That's what he wrote.
He never came back, so hopefully he's safe.
Hour later. He's
still showing up on my screen here on my maybe I had to do something different here.
You gotta open up the chat window.
He's right on that diaper mission.
But I'm saying his avatar's still there.
Yeah, he didn't leave. His avatar is there.
You just put it on mute.
Yeah, muted and left.
He's multitasking.
He is so funny, man. I got the chance to meet him in person. He just had me in stitches. He shows up. He's just like, hey, how you doing? He tried to play it off like I wasn't supposed to recognize him, but I did see one picture of him one time. Oh my god! And he had that weird smirk where he's trying to hide the fact that he's who he is. He's a goober. I love him.
Razdoc in the chat. I'm pretty much the same, man. I mean, whatever. I just can't hold on to a lot of information. It has to be, on the other hand, it's good because I can almost watch a movie like it's the first time after a while, but almost everything, like I feel like I got to fact check everything now. Like if I'm talking about a movie, I feel like I got to go back and watch it before I can really say anything about what really happened in it. Yeah. So as soon as a singularity happens, I'm going to have them fix my memory.
It's old age, man. We're getting old.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be that. I don't know.
Or maybe it's because like we're, I don't know what it is, but like you're creating comic books, you're doing stuff, I'm doing things. So it's almost like my brain doesn't have enough room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, every bit of drawing is, well, that's not fair to say because, I mean, look at what Ethan does, and he still has that, that sharp mind, that sharp memory.
So he's got a memory about weird stuff that I would never know. Like he has a lot of the same background stuff that I grew up on.
Mm-hmm.
But he must have seen those things a million times. He must have, because he's still a big fan of.
I think he's probably seen things more than once. But I mean, him and Cecil, man, I mean, they're on lockdown with quotes and can tell you every last thing about every last thing. And I've seen almost everything they've seen, and I'm just like, I don't remember any of this crap they're talking about. So, yeah. I think it's on me.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Nah, I think it's all good, man. I try not to think about that. The big thing I'm dealing with now is my male pattern baldness is starting to finally catch up to me.
Oh yeah.
Just shave it, dude.
Yeah. Someone took a picture of me. I was at a store signing for Black Friday or Small Business Saturday, and hanging out with my buddies, and the girl that runs social media, she takes a picture of the group, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know she took the picture. So I was deep in thought. I was holding on to my head, like like I was almost like had a headache or something. But I was just kind of like leaning my head out while I was working, and I noticed that in the back of my head, in the crown of my head, I'm missing some hair.
Yeah, get a little thin there.
It's going on.
Just get a do-rag. Yeah.
Dude, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking the whole time, like, I feel like such a fool because I've been getting a haircut because my barber, he's like, yeah, man, your hair is still good. I'm like, of course I'm like, of course you say my hair is good because you want my money for the haircuts, but it does not look good. I look like a bald guy trying to hide the fact that he's bald.
Just shave it, dude.
I know, man. I used to shave it, and I thought, oh, maybe I should try again because I'm not really that bad. Yeah, I am. So now I feel like a goober.
Like I still have hair, but I mean, it's my hairline is receding, so I just don't even like if I grow it out, it looks stupid to me, so I just shave it now.
Yeah, see, that's where I'm at now. I think I'm gonna be part of that club now, that hair club, the shave your balding head club.
Yeah,
it wasn't even that bad. I used to enjoy it. I used to have a mohawk for a while. That was fun. And I used to ride my motorcycle.
Nice.
That looked pretty badass. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, and a mohawk. I don't know. It was probably a while ago now. 10 years ago.
Yeah, but I felt like I was having a midlife crisis. I think I was back then. The bike was awesome, though. I'm not gonna lie. That was exciting stuff, but not here in Tampa. I've decided that Tampa's not a good spot for riding motorcycle. It's people here are a little odd. I'm not sure what they're doing. And the cars, the bikers are fine, as the cars that act weird. All right, so I jumped in, John, and I'm now deeper than I thought I was going to be in this session, and I like what I'm doing here. I like moving to a pen to do the flames. But I haven't even drawn the guns properly, so I'm going to stop soon.
Yeah.
Because I can only go so far. I need some reference for these guns. I started from some reference. That's how I got this general shape, but I think I need to take it a little further before I hit.
No, it looks good so far.
Yeah,
You finishing it up tomorrow then?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah, it's your bedtime anyways, 1:44.
Yeah, because I'm old.
Well, you tank out early. Yeah.
I do, man. I used to be up all hours. And for a while, when I was doing storyboarding, that's when I first started to do like all-nighters, and I do the storyboard work, and then I go to work the next day. I would get to the house around 4 or 5 in the morning, and then I'd sleep for like 30 minutes and get up to go to work at 6. And
yeah, I'm gonna have to start getting on an actual schedule here pretty quick. You know, my wife's finishing up her school. She has to do a quick externship for like a month, but she'll be back on like you know, I for the most part a morning schedule, I think. So I really like getting up at like 4 or 5 in the morning. But the problem is, you know, all the Comicsgate stuff is going on at night. So
it's a party at night.
Yeah, but I like that. I like being up in, you know, butt crack of dawn, and you know, just being able to chill and know that no one's gonna call you. You know, no one's gonna be giving you that text or anything like that. It's just gonna be chill time for you.
It does work out that way in the family, but I still got to take the kids to school the next day.
So we'll see.
That was real good, Elliot. Excuse me.
Oh, he's back.
Get the hell out of me.
Yeah, man. I went to go to Walmart, and then I don't know. They had so many sales. I was just looking around.
Did you walk or what?
No, I drove my car.
Oh,
it was like 2 miles away.
He said he was so bored with our conversation. He said, "I got to go to Walmart."
No. Because I had to buy my kid diaper because she just ran out. But then when I got inside there, the first thing I saw was this Black Forest cake, and I was like, "Oh God, I gotta have it." You know. Yeah. I was looking around the sales that they had. Not really much.
Sketch Therapy says now your mohawk would have a blank spot.
Oh wow! Thanks a lot, Sketch. Thanks a lot. Yeah, it wouldn't be as cool. It'd be garbage hawk.
Oh, Tommy S says Lone Star has Cyber Monday deal. Mike really wants to get graveyard shift numbers.
Dang, dude!
That dirty rat.
Everything he can.
Yeah, I gotta see where he's at. He's got to be close.
It's time to reopen graveyard shift.
I don't think I can. No, I'm definitely not. I mean, I know he's going to be scandalous just so he can beat me. But you know, whatever. We'll come back. We'll do another graveyard shift campaign in late spring, early summer, and stomp all over him.
Boom.
So, you know, with a little luck. So, I'm not going to let it bother me too much. Yeah, that looks good, Elliot.
What's that?
I said, yeah, that looks good.
You're not going to finish it, Elliot?
No, he's going to bed.
Yeah, I'm going to go to bed shortly here.
You're quitting, huh?
Yeah, I'm a quitter. A professional quitter.
It's really good, though.
So before we go, Andrew, man, your book is still in
Indiegogo
campaign mode, right?
Yeah, it's live right now. People, check it out. Sovereign. Bye.
Sovereign. Tell everybody real quick. It's probably we have a lot of crossover crew, but for the one who is not aware, give us a brief pitch of your book.
Sovereign is like basically my love letter to 80s, 90s comic books, anime, video games, all the stuff I grew up with, Capcom, love the Matrix movie. So all that I put in Sovereign, and it takes place in the post-apocalyptic future where advanced artificial intelligent machines have taken over the world, enslaved most of humanity, are draining the planet of its life energy. And because of this, the planet awakens its like protector, its weapon called Sovereign. And yeah, he basically, his purpose is to kill the machines and may go after the humans next. So yeah, if you guys like action, adventure, sci-fi stuff, check it out. And yeah,
how much time do you have left in your campaign?
I don't know. I think like 20 days or something.
Can anyone post links in your 21 days are left? Can anyone post links in your chat, Elliot?
Yeah, I'll do it.
No, I just did, and it looks like it posted the link. Usually people have it set up so only mods can do it.
Oh, okay. I get what you're trying to say.
I don't see it in there. And
maybe you should make me a mod.
Yeah, how do I do that?
Give him the powers.
There, I posted an exclamation point. Over to the right of my name, there's 3 dots. When your cursor goes there, you just click on that, and then it says like make moderator.
Yeah. Your channel sets to letting anybody use put links in your chat.
Oh, can you see the link then? Antonio?
Oh, why
I just saw DJ D. He just posted up a link. I'm looking for yours right now.
Why is it like that? It's not supposed to be that way.
Just gotta check your settings.
Mine should be right above Hardware Wars, where it says SJW documentary.
All right, let me see.
Yeah, you're a moderator now, John.
Oh, you can see it? Okay. Oh, moderator.
No, I don't see yours, John.
Oh,
I
okay.
see the Hardware War, but I don't see your link.
All right, SOVEREIGN. Oops. Whoa.
Yeah, I like Sovereign. It looks like a real promising book, and I really wish everybody can back it. You know.
Yeah, and I get it. You know, I came late. A lot of people already backed other projects. It's the holidays, so I'm kind of like, you know, I'm doing okay, I think, for where I'm at, like the time of the month and all that stuff.
Right. I still think you're gonna hit 20. You know.
Yeah,
I
hope so. I hope so.
Oh
still
yeah.
20 days.
Yeah, totally. I don't see why not. I mean, unless just the holidays completely suck everybody out.
Right.
But your campaign goes to May, so I mean, you're gonna have time for that. February, March, April. Yeah, you're gonna be just fine.
Well, I'm debating about opening it as a store or leaving it closed after. I'm mixed on it.
How long are you planning on needing it to run afterwards? Are you already in progress on this?
You mean, am I working on it right now, like the book?
Yeah, 40. Yeah, it's a 48-pager. How many pages are done?
I have 6 pages done.
Oh, okay. So you just
40
more.
I just have all this other work I have to finish before the new year, and then I'm gonna go full on Sovereign.
Ah, okay.
That sounds fun, man. I can't wait.
Fun because I've honestly, it was weird. Like towards the end of these freelance gigs, I was just like over comic, like not comic books, but just over drawing things I didn't care about.
Yeah.
So this is a lifesaver for sure.
Yeah. No, yeah, you got 21 days. I'm sure. I mean, what other campaigns are rolling right now? Well, there's the Meg.
Mike kind of messed me up. He took some of that Sovereign's attention.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He's disrespecting all of us, dude.
Pretty much. Yeah.
He got the what for from Ethan, huh?
But it's all right, man. You get this one done, wherever it closes at. You get it done. You deliver on time. You know, people are going to be very happy with you, and then you know you're gonna, as long as you're good with the fans and proactive, you know, building a platform, you know, you're gonna do better.
Yeah, this is like a job, man. This is literally our job now, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it takes work. But you know, even if you're just doing what Elliot does, you know, just kind of streaming while you're doing commissions or whatever. Doug Tenaple is actually doing about the same thing. I mean, you look at his streams; he's just drawing. He's got, you know, some people coming in there playing guitar, whatever. So
Yeah.
but hey, you know, you can be entertained for a while. You know, especially for people that are just kind of chilling at home. You know, just doing whatever they're doing while they have this stuff playing in the background.
Yeah, a lot of people telling me now that even on my longer streams, I mean, I think I still do too many long streams, but that they enjoy listening to it off the air, you know, when we're off, and listen to the conversation. I guess because they're at work and they can enjoy the discussion.
Absolutely. I mean, when you got a job that lets you wear headphones and you know you got an 8-hour shift, heck yeah. I mean, I used to play podcasts and stuff like that all the time. So yeah, I totally see people doing that. Anything to take your mind off of, you know, what you're doing. And now here we are talking about them working, and they're like, "Man, get me out of here."
No,
sorry guys.
They discovered it. Yeah. Well, all right. Hey, Critias, your book is still on, right? It's still active?
Yeah, my book is called Sovereign. You can check it out on Indiegogo.
Go for it. Back it, people.
Yeah, it's a good book.
Sovereign. All right. So I'm going to definitely, let me do this while we're talking. I'm going to go ahead and jump on. And Malin, your thing is, we don't have anything right now, right? We're still just talking about the future stuff.
Yep. If I was going to promote anything, I'll promote the Graveyard Shift Talent Search. So if you guys are interested, if you are Comicsgate, if you're a writer, contact Mark Polton by sending him a PDF of some printed work that you have at Coney Waves, which is KONIWAVES @gmail.com. And if you are an artist, then you know, link up some of your stuff on Twitter with the hashtag Comicsgate Talent Search. And we'll be looking for 2 writers, 2 artists to contribute to volume 2 of Graveyard Shift, along with myself. I'll be doing about 50 pages. And yeah, it'll be paid work, guys. I did a video on it on my channel. You guys can check that out. It says Graveyard Shift, big news or big announcement.
It's a big opportunity, people, so definitely check it out.
Yep.
How do you spell sovereign?
SOVEREIGN.
SOVEREIGN.
Yep.
That's what it was. I missed. Before E, except after C and R. There we go. I'm going to put your link into into our little thing here, the description. Let's do that now. And I wish you had a single place to put that on, John.
Oh no! Don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. Me announcing is plenty.
Yeah, I want to submit, but I don't think I have much to submit. You know, I mean, I have a children's book, but I don't want to submit that.
Yeah.
Maybe do a Graveyard Shift book for kids or something.
I know you're doing that on purpose, Andrew. Elliot did it earlier too. There's 43 watching, guys. If you haven't hit like, please do, and subscribe to Elliot's channel and ring the bell if you haven't.
Yeah, for real.
There it is. Oh no, let me refresh again. Dun, da, da.
Hey, is there a drawn and quartered this week?
Yeah, should be.
I think EBS channel.
Yeah, I think Ethan is hosting it. If you plan on getting on, be paying attention to the all caps room, because I imagine everyone's going to be trying to get on that one. And I'm gonna be a little upset if I can't get on the show
Dude,
that
you're like the
I'm on.
regular. You're getting on.
No. Yeah, it only takes 10 people. So
Right.
well, we'll see. Whatever. I'm gonna be getting on there bright and early. I recommend anyone else that sees that link to it as well.
Cool.
And I don't know if it's gonna be on his caps channel or his all caps channel.
Hmm.
So
I know he said he wants to do his pop stuff on his all caps.
yeah, it'd probably be good for his all caps channel
Mm-hmm.
for some content on there. But I don't know. I'm not in any of those discussions. But yeah, I imagine the link's going to be dropped right into the all caps hangout, and then everyone's going to rush in.
All right. Remember, everybody, if you don't vote, Malin always wins.
Yeah, he got it locked up, so you gotta go out there and vote, people.
We gotta stop him.
What happened last time? What was it?
Mike won.
Mike
Yeah,
won.
Mike
yeah,
won.
That's what it was.
Mm-hmm. Well,
That's because that new camera he got.
that was the was that Boba Fett? No, who was the last one?
It was
Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bubba.
Everybody was mad at me. I'm the Roddy Piper of John and Quarter, which is fine with me.
Oh, that's looking so good, man.
I think
Hey guys, I'm gonna bounce.
Elliot was trying to get us all out of here, but he really never intended to stop.
No, I put the link in the description, and that guy said, "Wait a minute, I could add that little piece right there." Yeah, I think
And then you add that little piece and that other little piece.
Yeah, no, I gotta stop now. Guys, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. You guys have been so good to me for my panel here. Super awesome. Hanging out with me in their own studios while I'm here live at Jerkmonger Studio in Tampa, Florida. Thank you guys in the chat for hanging out with me. I appreciate you guys. Uncanny Kodiak, you're the best, brother. Thanks for constantly throwing in those links to Big Bridge and to other things that we're all doing. Guys, check out all these great books that are being produced by these great creators. And I'm telling you that in this way. I'm not going to promote stuff that I think is not good, but I will tell you everything that's coming out. Check out John Malin's talent search. Go check that out. If you're a creative person, if you're an artist, you need to do this so you can stop talking garbage. I was going to say something else, and get in on that. Stop. Put your money where your mouth is, and put some pen to paper. Some for you writers and all you guys. Just get busy. Just get started, man. This could be your next big opportunity. Everybody else, sorry, you don't get none of that love. So I will talk to all you guys later. God bless you guys. Peace out and bye.